Hey guys, it has been quite a day. Happy Sunday. I hope that you all have an amazing day. And so, first and foremost, forgive me. I have to go live on my phone. I do not like live streaming on my phone when I'm talking about a subject because I can't really connect with y'all. So, I'm just going to say this really quickly. I have been on a few platforms. I stopped doing platforms for a reason, and that's because I can't just have a conversation with people without them making it personal, without them trying to attack my beliefs. This is a safe space for people to speak and for people to voice their opinions. And especially if you're a conservative Republican. Because there's so many other spaces that everybody else speak, but as soon as I decide to voice my opinion, I feel that, hey, you guys, I have to use my phone. I'm sorry, my laptop, the battery, before I get into my conversation, let me say this so I can wait a few minutes. My battery exploded on my laptop, and I do have a Mac. I never went live from my Mac, and I haven't used it in so long I can't find a charger. Hey, Daniel, happy Sunday. Greetings, Edgar. It has been a heck of a day. It's been a heck of a day. And I have been beat up, y'all. Hey, beans and cornbread. I can have a conversation with just about anybody on YouTube except for three people that I absolutely refuse. If I have a person blocked, there's no conversation. I don't care if I'm on a platform, but the sectors and the places that I usually am are not in these neck of the woods. All right, but we are so close to an election, and I'm not gonna be one on here to be joking and playing around with people, spreading misinformation just for a click and a view. I'm not going to do that. Now, these panels that I went on, you will not see me back in these chats when they're attacking my character, trying to bring up relationships, trying to, no, I'm not trying to rekindle anything with people, but I can have a conversation with anybody. This is YouTube. And if we can't have an intelligent conversation, I don't need to be around these people. I just don't. So, no, because there's some people that just love, okay, the attention and want to curse out in you and blah blah blah, but they don't get the same kind of a response anymore from that, because most people can see that I've turned my life around. I live a good life. I'm very proud to have 2.5 years sober, you guys. And so the things that I'm into now have nothing to do with the other people online, as far as let's roast this person, let's roast that person. If I hit a platform, I feel like, you know what, there's something that needs to be said. I feel like these sectors have went very dark when it comes to children and a lot of things. So yeah, so but there's no point of trying to speak your mind in places where it's not gonna matter. It's not. Now, I do vote Republican. I have very conservative values, but I'm not hey, Maverick, I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything, but I do feel that we should all be grown enough to have a conversation about it. I was on a platform with a lady that said voting is not important. I feel that that's ignorant, because our ancestors and people died for our right to vote. And there's a reason why blacks were kicked out of office. There's a reason why they had grandfather clauses and literacy tests and things like that to keep blacks out of office. So for all of this, right? It must mean that blacks, that we need to vote, right? Voting is a way for us to have a voice in this country. Now, I understand the electoral vote. I understand that some people don't understand it, but without the electoral vote, larger states would have an unfair advantage over, hey, Pizarro, larger states would have an unfair advantage over smaller states by the number of people. So we don't go by the popular vote. There are problems with the electoral college. I'm not going to say that, but I do believe in the government not being as involved in our lives for us to have a wealthier economy. I am pro-life. Not every Republican is pro-life. That's going to depend on their Christian values. Republicans that have Christian values tend to be pro-life, but there's some that feel that there are exceptions. I'm not here to argue that, okay? But I do feel that the reason that blacks vote Democrat is because our parents and our grandparents have voted Democrat. But if you look beyond that, blacks were primarily Republican, and you have to be represented in both parties. I'm just saying. Now, I don't understand why people would just keep doing the same thing with the same results, because I don't see anybody that has voted Democrat for all of these years and all of these whatever, and they haven't advanced anywhere in life. At least with the Republican Party, okay, we believe in taking care of yourself and being wealthier, not depending on a government. How can a system that has oppressed you help you and save you? That's all I'm saying. Hey King, how you doing? Hey Robin, hey Forever Lisa, good seeing you. I can't highlight your comments or show. I don't know how to do all that stuff from my phone, so just bear with me. Maverick said, wait, let me try. What is this button? Okay, wait, let me get out. Let me not use my, oh wait. How do I get rid of that? See, I don't know. Okay, let me I don't know how to put your comment down. Delete comment? Does that do it? Uh okay, let me why is your comment being highlighted? Okay, there. Let me not touch my phone, child. Hey King. I was trying to read a comment and there it goes. Pizarro says, here you go. Pizarro, you know how I feel about, I'm voting for Kamala. That's it. That's all. But Robin, that's fine. But what's interesting to me, she's supposed to be the borders are or our borders protected. Now she's claiming to be black, but in her book, she clearly says she's not black. She's Indian. That's what she said. I didn't make that up. And even if her father is from Jamaica, he's not. Look at their heritage. That's all I'm saying. I'm not telling people how to vote. All I'm doing is having a conversation. And I feel that for me to be attacked on my opinions is just problematic. And that tells me that some people can't handle a conversation and they can't back their conversation up with fact. So they have to go to ad hominem attacks and things like that. At least I don't like using my phone. Kamala is a wolf in sheep's clothing. I agree, Beans, because I live in California when she was here as a prosecutor. And I know her record here. I think that I, when it comes to the Democratic Party, and they want to keep talking about Trump and racism, they're overlooking all of the things that the Democratic Party has done. Okay? Because they're the ones that pass laws to keep blacks from voting. They're the ones that they're responsible for the destruction of Black Wall Street, and the history goes on and on. So you can't blame me for right now. I'm so invested in this election and what's going to happen because I love our country, and I and whatever is happening in our country. I mean, it's crazy right now. And you can't just have unprotected borders. No other country has it where you could just go flop it in their border, right? Just showing up and participating in their elections. So I am for border control and things like that. Now, I'm not talking about sending back refugees and stuff like that. I'm not talking about that, but there is a process. Lisa says, I've never been a Trump supporter and not going to start now. But see, that's the thing, Lisa. Some people misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm not telling people to just support Donald Trump because I was a Republican before Trump. But I'm understand. What I don't understand is all the ones that saying that they're Democrat. What has it benefited you this far? That's all I'm asking. I don't think I'm asking for a lot when I'm asking that question. Beans and Cornbread says, I'm from California as well. Black people in California who know Kamala. Exactly, Beans and Cornbread. Exactly. And you can't change her history and the fact you just can't. It was you just can't. Now, I should probably not speak about stuff like this in other spaces because I know what's going to happen. But I'm telling you right now, I have been in chats, I've been trying to speak, and you will not see me in those spaces anymore. I'm talking about as far as what I'm talking about. You won't see me doing it because if I'm having a conversation, it doesn't mean, oh, let's attack MU, let's try to make her feel like she's nothing and blah, blah, blah. Because you can't be the only one entitled to your own opinions. And I would appreciate if people's opinions were backed by facts. Let me grab my notebook. That's all I'm saying. And when blacks were Republican, we were very active in Congress. We were very strong. And I understand that some were disillusioned and some people got some people felt betrayed back in 1877. Here we are in 2024. We're coming up on another election, and people are falling for the same rhetoric. All the Democratic Party has to do is make a promise to blacks and say, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and nothing changes. And we keep on hoping as if we're waiting for somebody to save us. Donald Trump is a new Republican. He was a strong Democrat, and his entire family. I'm not disagreeing with you, bees and cornbread. Hey, big gas man. I'm not disagreeing with you. And have I ever voted Democrat? I don't know. But assume what he's standing for now, and for Kamala to go from vice president nominee to presidential nominee, that's history in the making. I get it. And now people are basing a lot of it on race, but I think that that's a weak card to lead with, especially when that hasn't been the card that she led with for her whole political career. It just started this year, literally within what, a month, 2 months? I'm just saying. I didn't hear her push all this when she was vice president. Am I missing something? Project 25, sorry. Trump program gonna destroy America. Did you guys see where the head of the person that started the Project 2025 stepped down because there's a lot of things that Donald Trump said he didn't agree with? How you doing, Noble? I'm a proud conservative Republican. People don't know the history of the Democratic Party. Agreed, Noble. But I can only tell people so much. I agree. Democrats are inclusive. Hey, folklore. Biden put more black women judges in than any other president. Okay, I'll have to look that up. I'll make a note to myself to look that up. I'm not aware of that, but we do know that he's no longer a part of the race. So, and all of these endorsements. So, okay, Kamala is now officially the nominee. She's got support from the delegates and the Democratic Party. Great. I think that propaganda is a problem to make it seem as if she's just winning in all of the polls, and people do that. And propaganda is a hell of a thing to try to influence people's minds, but I don't really buy it. A lot of the media is owned by left wingers, and so they're gonna make you think that she's in the lead, so you think that you're joining a winning party. But I completely disagree. I think that her political party has been weak, and she's been silent during Biden's campaign for the most part. And as far as being a border czar, why is she trying to separate herself from that? When I live in California, I have been at the border, and I have seen border patrol right there as people were crossing over, and all they did was look the other way. And it seemed as if the border patrol was there just for show. And I live right here, so you can't tell me what I didn't see. We need a moral person leading the free world. Okay, but what do you consider moral, folklore, when our history is so loaded? Both of them are puppets. Okay, sincere. Harlem says Kamala cosplaying as a Black American woman. I just can't go for a party whose history was attacking blacks. And when blacks became free, they made laws to try to take that freedom away, made laws to try to take our voice out of Congress, out of the political office, and there's a reason why. And so if you tell me something like you don't vote, you choose not to vote, I kind of can understand it, but you're not the ones that I'm talking to, because you don't even take your part in no, I'm not really here to entertain that. I kind of find that as an insult, but you're entitled to do what you want to do. That's why we live in this country, okay? I have looked up Project 2025. I know that it's a manual for a conservative president, not necessarily Trump, but I know that Trump's name is throughout Project 2025, and he has said, he doesn't agree with a lot of it, but I do appreciate the fact that he's not into all of this new woke stuff, and it's kind of like strong family morals. I'm talking about the Republican Party, not Trump. Strong family values. Take care of yourself. The government's not going to save you. We are responsible for our lives. I do believe in a wealthier economy. Okay? Inflation is crazy. someone not convicted of R for starters. Was he convicted, Folklore? MU, give us some footage of the border. Actually, I have a video, Maverick, that I can post because, like I said, I was there, I watched it, and it's not a pretty picture. It's quite shocking. And these people that crossed, some of them may have been in trouble, but I'm telling you, if you would see the things that I saw with some of them laughing and looking like wow, like it's just insane. So maybe I should take a recent trip down there. I don't have a problem doing that. You know, when we talk about the Reconstruction era, a lot of times we think of it as a really dark period of time. But during the Reconstruction era, um, thousands of black, well, let me make sure I get this right. 1865 to 1877, thousands of black representatives were black men were elected into office. Okay. Um, about 2,000 of African American men held public office during the Reconstruction era. And I know that the history they speak about is so dark, but it was a progressive movement. And that was right after the Civil War. And we were primarily Republican. And it was a Democratic legislature that put laws into place to oppress Black people. It was not the Republican Party. And I feel that each year we just lied about it so that the Democratic Party can keep the Black vote. Obviously, the Black vote matters. It's a strong vote. And I feel that we are underestimating our power with it. The Republican Party was started by Black men. Hey, JoJo Dancing. Hey, Terry. Thank you for being a oh God. Thank you for being a member. Let me see if I can. Okay, so all I gotta do is tap on it and it highlights. I gotta learn how to use my phone since my laptop's not working, y'all. Kamala for the win, just saying, hey, here you're not gonna be attacked for your views. Like I'm attacked in other spaces. Okay. Now, how do I get rid of the comment? Do I just tap it again? Oh, there we go. Okay. We're gonna leave this up for a minute. Oh. Star Magic says, I'm very pro women. I just know I got two cheeks under Trump and I don't like followers. She seems like a follower. Two cheeks. Let me see what you mean by that. I'm very pro women. I just know I got two cheeks under Trump and I don't like followers. She seems like a follower. I'm not sure what you mean. She a Leo like Clinton and Obama too. So I definitely wanted to have a space where we could talk about things like that and not be attacked. And I have to be careful where I talk about that stuff. And some people say, hey, you know what? They don't want to do it. Politics, I understand. But at the end of the day, you can't really Star Magic. You can't really complain if you don't participate. And I feel that each of us have a responsibility to play our part because that's how we have a control in our own lives, you know? So why I vote for the Republican Party? I feel that the Republican Party was started by us. The Republican Party was the party that we used to belong to, and they're the ones. They're the ones that's responsible for the 15th Amendment, right? They're the ones that led a lot of laws that was for Black people, including civil rights. So there is no way I'm gonna go for a party that was against that. Okay, you guys. Terry said, why are they trying to take out Geminis? Terry said, we just had a debate at brunch with my cousins, and only one is Republican. They have it back going on. My family is Democrat. So no matter who wins, it's going to be a tough time. I don't want to see my family disappointed, but at the end of the day, I know how much is riding on this election. Do I wish Trump would not troll Kamala and say some of the things that he says? I do. I know that he says a lot of things for shock value. I wish that he would just stick to the point, but he's a politician and he is a businessman and he's great with he knows how to get somebody's attention, But if you listen to what he's actually saying and what he's standing for, they twist his words a lot in the things that he says. It's offensive that they are accusing Kamala of only recently turning black. What's the purpose of that? The purpose of that folklore is because she said that she was Indian. Those are her words. She said she was of Indian heritage, that she was not of black heritage. So, hey, Lauren, so it's not people. I think that when it comes to the Republican Party, they want to point out every little thing, and he said this, he said that, and they want to skip over everything said by the Democrats and the left wingers. A businessman with long bankruptcies. Okay, so we're talking about bankruptcies. Bankruptcies can also be considered, bankruptcy is a tool that a lot of people use. It doesn't mean that you're broke. Okay, some people use it as currency. If that bankruptcy is going to wipe out a debt and you can start from fresh, you spent the money, you did what you needed to do, and bankruptcy is okay. He bankrupted business, started another business, but that's another conversation for another day. We can't really talk about bankruptcies as failures because a lot of wealthy people have declared bankruptcy and bankrupted a lot of businesses only to start that same business under a different name. So that's a complicated, not complicated, but it depends on how you look at it. I think only a certain group of people look at bankruptcies. Now, I'm not saying a bankrupt from a couple $1,000s, but he obviously used it to his advantage. And I think that we can learn from wealthy people on how they do that. Folklore said okay, folklore, I see you just don't, okay. Beans and Cornbread said, I would love for some of our people to live in California for 60 days just to get an idea of how the Democrats are destroying families, the economy, and our educational system. It is insane. And that is exactly what I'm talking about, Beans and Cornbread, especially living in California. You guys got to consider where you live as well. There is no way I would vote any other way. No way. Geminis are for their group and can say dumb stuff, but I hope he is looking at America as his group and makes us all rich. With the wealthier economy, the 1% and the 3% are wealthier. It only makes sense. And the Republican Party has passed bills for reparations only to be turned down by the Democratic Party. That is a fact. In 2015 and 1865, reparation bills was passed only to be shot down, and it was shot down by Obama. And it was, and when reparations was given out, we all know the story. It was given out to former slave owners and not the people who it was intended to go for. So it is what it is. An appeal should not allow him to run for president. An appeal? What you mean by that, Terry? I'm not sure what you mean. He still hasn't apologized about the Central Park Five. Okay, but okay, and I understand that folklore. But I'm talking about policies. I understand that he did a lot. Now, why when you guys speak about that, which was a horrible thing, no one talks about Biden saying that he didn't want his children blacked with I'm sorry, bused with black children, and he didn't want them in the same educational system. How come nobody speaks about that? Shakia, I'm just having a conversation. I'm just having a conversation, okay? If I need to drop a link, I can learn how to do it from my phone, but I am using my phone, so you guys just ask. I barely learned how to highlight these comments. Geminis will also call out their group when corrupt. Will they star magic? Because it seems to me that a lot of people let their biases get control of them, and a lot of people aren't really open-minded, and they only want to believe what they want to believe. And I'm not here to try to change anybody's mind about anything, and I definitely don't want to be called a Trumper. I don't like that. I just miss. I like it when families were considered a certain way. I'm not saying that we don't have the right to make our own families and things like that. I just feel that's another conversation for another day. I just miss a lot of the things. And I think that we're getting so far. I just feel like we're getting so far with all this other stuff that we're missing the mark. Okay. No government program is going to save us. We really need to have a livable wage and a wealthier economy. We have to protect our borders. Without protecting our borders, we're just letting anything go, and no other country allows that. We have to protect the rights of American citizens. Now, we want to get into the white black thing. The white and black thing with Kamala, The only problem I have is that in her book, she made it clear to separate herself from Black people. Now, the world is going to tell you who you are, white or Black, whatever. But when she did write that in her book, I wonder why she didn't want to be identified as a Black woman, and now she does. But we already know the answer to that. Lisa says, did it? No, that's not true, Lisa. Mm-mm. But we can talk about what Hillary Clinton did that was proven as far as documents of classified information. It's not true, Lisa. He didn't steal anything. How can you vote for Trump that destroyed the White House? I heard you have money. That is not it. I am sure you have different race in your family. Does money have to do with how I'm gonna vote? I am concerned about taxes and things like that. I don't like what happened in Capitol Hill, Mary, and so that's why I don't like to be called a Trumper, because I was a Republican before that happened, and a lot of conservative Republicans have been very vocal about our distaste in that. But when you have, there's a lot of things when you have an election and it's not a fair election and it's not a fair loss, then you're gonna have anger. What happened at Capitol Hill should not have happened, but you can't call him an insurrectionist or anything like that. You have to blame the people that decided to storm Capitol Hill. Yes, he did, MU. Terry, um, no, I'm gonna say no, but I will look into that. But he didn't steal anything. I wonder why people are so intent onto making him like this horrible person, but they're not looking at anything that the Democrat Party does. And you guys want to overlook their long history embedded in racism. You guys want to overlook the fact that that's where the Klan started and all this other stuff. I am listening to myself. I am listening to myself, folklore. But I wonder why you guys are trying to pick things apart, saying, "Oh, he did this and he did that," but you want to ignore all the racism within the Democratic Party. Ask me this: has Black Wall Street ever been fixed? Was that not destroyed by the Democrats? Why you guys are bringing up Capitol Hill? Are you guys forgetting about Black Wall Street? Not one person is talking about the wealth that was stolen there. And that's what I'm talking about, because people are so embedded in their beliefs that they're not willing to look at what has happened and what has destroyed Black wealth. And I'm all about wealth, and I'm all about being stronger politically, and you have to be involved in the political party. We have to be in on the juries, we have to be in office, we have to be judges and stuff like that. We have to be represented, but we can't be represented if we want to look the other way and say everybody else should fix the problem. But we have to know the history, as painful as that history is, and we cannot deny that the Democratic Party has a strong history in racism. We cannot separate ourselves from that. So how can you point out all these things that you don't like about Trump and ignore the things in the Democratic Party? It's called programming, MU. Okay. I agree with you, I agree with you, Maverick. I agree. Star says, Trump, you say he would destroy America, but you can't, but tell me how though? Because that's a very general statement. So tell me how. You're using history from before your lifetime, which can also be disputed. Be disputed how? It's a fact. Folklore. And the Democratic Party isn't denying it. So I hope you're not going to come in here and tell me that those things didn't happen, because it definitely did. I'm not over I'm not overly pro Trump, but I think because he already rich, he can't be bribed like other politicians. Exactly. Remember, Hillary sold our rare unit. That's right, Star Magic, but they don't want to talk about that. You're not citing any sources. I will when I go live from my laptop, because then I can put it up for you. But I'm not making it up. Can you tell me where I was wrong, folklore? Because I wasn't. I spoke about the 15th Amendment. Am I wrong about that? That was with Ulysses S. Grant. I don't need to cite a source. That's what happened. And what party came up with the laws against Black people? That was the Democratic Party. What do I need to cite? Who started the Klan to intimidate blacks from voting? Who came up with the grandfather clauses? Not to mention the literacy test. Okay, voting tax. What was it? The poll taxes. There's nothing there. What do I need to cite there? You vote for who you want, and I will vote my way. Mary, I'm not telling you what not to vote for, but I do find it, I'm not telling you who not to vote for, Mary, but I do think it's problematic to not even be willing to listen to somebody else. I feel that number one, we do have to be represented on both sides, Mary. Okay? And you have Republicans and Democrats in Congress. You have both sides for a reason. So you can balance each other out and have these conversations. But we have to be able to have the conversation. And to have a one-sided conversation is problematic. Freethinker says, hold up. I can't believe I'm highlighting this, but I'm fair. Hold up, this Democratic Party split from the Southern Democratic Party. That was the Klan, not this Democratic Party. But you guys want to feel okay, but you can't really say that, free thinker, because you cannot tell me that it did not influence the Democrats today. And it was just in 2015 that the reparation bill was shut down by a Democratic president. So you guys can make it seem like it was from so long ago, but it really wasn't. And there's a lot of laws that's problematic, and we still have a lot of blacks that can't vote for a lot of reasons because we are overly incarcerated and a lot of other things, free thinkers. So there's problems. You don't need to cite anything as history in you. Exactly, Maverick. Exactly. Trump made up to. Are you going to show a source for that, Terry? Because the economy was stronger under Trump. This is a false what? Equivalency. The civil rights leaders came from the Democratic Party. Where did Frederick Douglass come from? Did he not switch from the Democratic Party to the Republican Party because he said that he cannot belong to a party that was willing to take away his freedom? Are you not considering Frederick Douglass a strong leader? Oh no, Miss Inu, I work for the district attorney. It was so correct. It doesn't matter who you are. If your dad is black and they get together, you are in. I heard that so much when I worked. Mary, I agree with you 100%. But what I'm saying is, do I see damn it, Kamala is black? Doesn't really matter. She said herself that she wasn't. Now I'm not saying whether she is or not, but I do say that these people use the black vote and they want to be black for convenience, but not really a part of the struggle. Because when she was a prosecutor and when she was doing all this other stuff, she didn't push for the black vote or anything else. Miss, I'm not throwing shade, but is your dad black? Yes. You can ask me whatever you want. Stephanie says, I have followed politics loosely for 25 years. Trump would never have my vote. I'm with Kamala, period. I'm not telling you guys how to vote, but I feel that for some people just to say, oh, I'm with her no matter what she said or done, well, I can't help that. That's funny because it's exactly how the Republican Party became predominantly white. The Dems started fear tactics to keep black Republicans from winning elections. And that's exactly right, beans and cornbread. And I feel that the reason why people are stuck in their safe situations year after year is because they refuse to think outside the box and look at how we started. I want to belong to the party of when blacks were wealthier, and blacks were definitely wealthier when we were primarily Republican. I can send you an article, free thinker. I'm telling you why he switched over. And we are not going to act like black codes did not exist in 1964. Star Magic said, when I date black and white, I am meaning this or that. When I date, what you mean? When I date? Is that what you mean? I listened to Trump when he was president. Mary, I didn't hear anybody complaining when they got those stimulus checks and when he put money in blacks' pockets. A lot of the things he had to do, he had to fix from the person before him. I'm not trying to get anybody upset, so we're going to leave it like that. Tell me, what do you think about how your president treated the black journalist last week. I can't tell you that because I made videos on that. I think that I feel that I agree with him when he said he had a rude, that the questioning was rude. He did, they went in and attacked him and he responded. I feel that they were rude to him, free thinker. How did he attack? What do you think about how did he treat the black journalists? They came at him. They promised him that his opponents would be there. They didn't show up, and then they were late on top of it, and he still showed up. And it says a lot for a person that that showed up. He responds to black and white journalists the same when he does not like the question. So all of a sudden, we're that sensitive to where he can't respond. So we could say whatever we want to say to him, and he can't respond back. Hey, silent nemesis. Beans and Cornbread said he was ambushed and lied to. He was lied to, Beans and Cornbread, because I wouldn't have stayed. I would have just left. Wouldn't let you try to make a name for yourself off of me. Mm-mm. That's why I leave a lot of places. Both candidates have flaws. I'm sorry, y'all. I just took a vitamin. Sorry about that. Both candidates have flaws. Oh, shoot. It went too far. He adopted a good economy and that he didn't adopt the good economy folklore. I'm sorry. I'd like to know why Kamala supporters are voting for her this election. Does anyone feel comfortable saying why? I would like to know why too. Thank God it's freedom of speech. You can vote who you want. I'm not going there. But Mary, here's the thing. Why is it, why are people only comfortable with hearing their own thoughts of ideals? Why do we have to all think the same? Because what I'm telling you all are facts. Now, if you still choose to vote the same way, I don't know where you live. I don't know your situation. But I am saying that for people to just try to demonize the Republican Party is problematic because I'm sorry, because the Republican Party has done a lot for Black people, regardless of what we want to say about it or not. Nobody complains about the 15th Amendment. Nobody complains about the 14th Amendment or anything like that. Nobody even talks about the reparation bill being passed in 2015. We don't want to talk about that. We just want to point fingers at the Republican Party. And really we have to look at ourselves and ask ourselves, why don't we ourselves understand these things? Why are we so afraid? And I don't want to use the word afraid, but that's what a lot of people are, of challenging our ideas and beliefs. Just because our parents and our grandparents voted a certain way does not mean that we have to follow suit. We don't think the same. And we don't have to think the same, Mary. But don't you guys think that it's problematic when people are talking about politics? And I feel that, okay, they're having this left wing discussion. So I choose to enter the conversation, which I won't anymore. I won't. I don't need to do that. But unless I'm over in those circles, in the political sectors. But why attack somebody who feels a different way? Because hey, Malbert, good seeing you. Because I am attacked, my character is attacked. They want to bring up this, bring up that, instead of attacking facts. And I think it's because people are afraid to think, and a lot of people don't know history the way they think they do, and so they choose to attack me. I just gave you guys several reasons why I vote Republican, and all people can tell me is, didn't Trump do this, didn't Trump do that, without backing anything up with actual facts. That's all I'm saying. Don't be offended, it's just a conversation. How you doing, Gerald? Forever Lisa said, I really believe she will take the U.S. further than Trump. Mess around with Trump, we back in slavery. You're entitled to your opinion, Lisa. I'm going to say this. How are we back in slavery? The last I checked, the Congress is still made up of Democrats and Republicans. How are we back in slavery? Is Trump allowed to make a law solely by himself, even with the power to veto? I just don't understand those kind of comments. The only way we are back in slavery is if we stop participating and if we just give in and if we don't really understand what's happening. History does have a tendency to repeat itself, but that's why these conversations are important. Trump can't lead us back to slavery. And as a matter of fact, it was the Democratic Party that fought to keep us in slavery. So that's a really interesting statement, but I'll go light. Hey, Gerald, good to see you. Free Thinker said, child, y'all stick to your rewritten history, and I'll stick to current politics. You guys stick to your Trumpian talking points, and I will stick to actual facts. Okay, y'all, we got to be friends after the stream, okay? Because I'm going to say what I feel. And I think that calling people Trumpians is problematic for this reason, Free Thinker, because I'm not just speaking about when Trump ran for office and when he was president. And now that he's, soon to be the president elect. I'm not talking about that. But what I am talking about are current policies, but we cannot deny. So everything that has been in the chat, Free Thinker, people are talking about the past. I forgot to put my phone on Do Not Disturb. I hope I don't get kicked off my stream. People are talking about the past, right? But when I bring up the past and the laws and which party has passed laws for the freedom and the civil rights of Black people, you guys want to ignore that history. So it's okay to talk about the past when it comes to Trump, but when I bring up the past in the same era and things that have happened, then it's a problem. I spoke about Biden not wanting his kids on the same bus with Black people. Oh, but that's the past. So I don't understand. The Democrats are why jobs have been outsourced to China, India, Taiwan, and Indonesia. Thank you, beans and cornbread. And we are from the same area, so we understand. We understand. Democrats brought. Thank you. And that's one of the reasons I feed my kids in private school, because I don't agree with the bathrooms being for both and stuff like that and all of this woke stuff. I put my kid in private school where they don't have to learn about stuff like that. I just believe in traditional values, and I feel you have to respect the rights of all people, and our kids should have a choice in what they do in the public school systems and wanting the one bathroom for both. I'm not into that kind of stuff. Okay, this BS group of Trumpians. Oh, why they showing fake clips of Trump walking out to me? Star Magic, I can't help but laugh to that. I like Trump's dancing and stuff, but I don't know why they're doing all that. But again, propaganda is strong, child. Free Thinker said this BS group of Trumplicans are not Republicans. This is this is not McCain Republicans' fate. I'll go to nonpartisan to make my decision. Let me ask you guys this. You guys are so worried about what Trump can do to this country. But I could tell you what Kamala has done to California and what's happened here. How is it any different? Why do you guys want to make it seem like one group? Okay, it's like you want to. They're like I can't think of the one I'm looking for, but you're looking for this Democratic Party to save you, and it hasn't yet. And I don't get this demonizing the Republican Party and the Republicans that have fought hard and lost their lives um as well. Am I saying that there's not problems in both? I'm not saying that at all. I'm just looking at the history and what side fought their hardest to keep Blacks down. Bet Trump not calling out the many men clips as fake news. So you trust uh Kamala, who doesn't identify the same, Lisa, who I think it's problematic to want to lead with the whole I'm Black thing, so I should earn my vote. I mean, so I should earn your vote. Hmm. Wanting a border just open to all, wanting anyone to be able to vote, things like that. I guess. Okay, I guess. Democrats passed legislation that gave children to keep their medical records private from their parents. Uh huh. I have a story I could share about that, but I'll do it another day when I can share my screen and stuff like that. I don't know how to do that from my phone. Scare tactics, exactly. We were originally Republicans. That's right, your pleasure. But aren't we still called snowflakes? Wes, I'm not sure who you are to be called a snowflake. Are you a white person? I don't know. What point are you making with that? Hey Montrese, how you doing? Beans and Corbett said Democrats made it possible for teachers to teach gender confusion in schools. Exactly. Something I'm not for because our kids are so young. This is stupid as divisive as hell. How is it stupid? How is it divisive? I think that I've been very fair. I've given credit to the Democratic Party. I said there's problems with both sides, and I'm not here to tell you guys how to vote. I'm just here to spread a little bit of knowledge. Feel free, Beans and Cornbread. I'm glad I'm not the only one that sees it. And again, I live in California and I know what has been done here. Okay. With the incarcerations and all of that BS. And I'm not saying that some people don't some people shouldn't be incarcerated, but what happened here was insane. My mom hates Trump and we can't even talk about it. My mom does as well. She allows me to talk about it, but trying to stream from my mom's house in Wisconsin is almost impossible because you can hear her in the background yelling and and can we talk about Donald Trump tagging black people's luggage because he didn't want them in his hotel? I'm just saying that was let me tell you something, Montrese. What does that have to do with the policies and things like that? You can talk about whatever you want. I'm not going to censor you guys. I'm not going to censor what you guys say. But can we also talk about the jobs that he has given black people that asked him for a job and he personally had them work for him? Can we talk about that? Because knowing what I haven't heard one person talk about the racism from Biden, and you only want to talk about Trump because it's ignored when it comes for the for from the other party. So until I hear it talked about on both sides, it's gonna be hard for me to pay it a lot of attention because right now I'm only hearing, oh, Trump did this, Trump did that, and everybody's ignoring the videos of Biden saying how his kids shouldn't be on the same bus with black people or black children. So why is that? Backed by the now presidential nominee for the Democratic Party. Really, MU Biden didn't want his no Trinidad. He did not. Those were his words. He didn't. How you doing, Trinidad? He didn't want them on the same bus, going to the same schools. And when that video came out, I didn't hear people talk about it. They still want to talk about Trump this and Trump that, and just overlook everything else. And no one. I keep saying that in Kamala's book, she said herself that she was not black. I'm not making that up. I'm not trying to miscategorize her. Those were her words. So again, if you want to talk about it all and stop just trying to demonize the Republican Party. The Republican Party has a strong history of protecting black people and giving us the right to vote, wanting us to be in the office, wanting us to be wealthier. They're the party that is for that because I have not seen any bill passed from the Democratic Party in favor of that. Now, the black journalist quoted Johnson and the Voting Rights Act, right? But she completely skipped the 15th Amendment that was from 1869. I believe it was ratified it was ratified in 1870, giving all black men the right to vote. That was from Ulysses S. Grant. And I see that the Democratic Party wants to rewrite history, wants to change it like they did so much for blacks, and they did not. They passed the laws to oppress black people. Republicans have fought for it. You can't change that history no matter how hard you want to try. And you can say, oh, this is a new era. Oh, all of that was undone because of Trump. But that is not the case. How you doing, Skinny? It's good to see you. Sorry, Skitty, I've been beat up on these panels because of my political beliefs. So I just wanted to come over here and talk a little bit about it and why. Freethinker says, I don't give a crap about the past when I can't change it. Okay, but Freethinker, it's hard not to think about the past because we have to think about where we came from because it was not the Republican Party that has oppressed black people. We fell into the lie of the Democratic Party election after election after election only to keep going for the same thing. So we kind of have to talk about the past because that's all we have to go on. I do care about our current state as I do, Freethinker. So I feel that we both care about the current state. But you cannot tell me that there are no problems with the Democratic Party. I can't go for that. My people and my values trumps and those like him. Whew, that's rough. It's not about black. It seems like it is, Lisa, because they are fighting for the black vote. So in this case, it is about black, which is sad because this is the only country that focuses so hard on race, this, race, that. When every other country, you're either a Canadian, you're Jamaican, whatever, whatever. But in this case, it is about black. Mary says, when this lady works for law enforcement, had she not did her job, she would have been fired. That's not true, Mary, because we know if that's the case, you got to talk about the police departments. Let me read your full statement before I comment, because that's a very problematic statement, because there's a lot of people who have not done their job in political office. There's a lot of people, and there's a lot of corruption within political office, especially when it has come to black people. So we cannot say that. So we can't use that, oh, because she didn't get fired. Because in that case, you have to make that same comment for the whole police force and all of those kind of things as well, Mary. Let me read this. When the lady was in office, she did not. I was afraid to vote 1 year because it's hard to see who you vote for. Okay. But here's the thing, folklore. Who said I was desperate for Trump? Who's desperate for Trump? Some of us are desperate for change. Some of us are tired of the way that things are going. And we're tired of seeing people make the same decision every year or every election only to be disappointed. So the only desperation is for a strong country, a strong economy, protected borders so our children are protected. So we can give them a future without worrying about and what's this thing about just allowing anybody to vote that's not even registered? Why are they trying to pass laws like that from the other party? It's a problem. There's problems. People could say that Trump's a felon and things like that, but we all know that he was convicted to try to um, sabotage the election and keep him from running. Although it won't keep him from running, it hasn't kept him from running, and he believes so strongly in what he's saying that he was willing to run because he didn't feel that Biden was a strong enough candidate. And he's running for American values. Read what quote, cite what source. I haven't seen anybody cite any sources. I'm talking about pure history, and it's there. Stay in the past if you want to end up back there. No one's staying in the past, free thinker, but you definitely have to know the past. And you have to know history because they're trying to water it down and trying to rewrite history, make it a gentler history. So we have to know the past. And that's surprising, free thinker, coming from you. I'm being very fair. I live in California. I see what's happening, and it's disgusting. It absolutely is. It is disgusting. Forever Lisa said, I think Kamala is more qualified than Trump. Trump has experience being a president. So how is she more qualified? Maybe she's more qualified at being a prosecutor. Maybe she's more qualified at being a vice president. But the last I checked, Trump was the president, and so that would make him more qualified, no? Cap? Hey, brother-in-law. It's good seeing you. Now it's about her race. How many? Free thinker, when did I say it was about her race? All I said about the race thing was that she herself, and thank you for being a member, my friend, after the stream, my friend, but she herself said that she was of Indian heritage. That's what she said. She made it about race. Okay, and we didn't need how that's the stallion chick to be there at the rally. Isn't that going a little overboard, going a little far? Can't you win based off your points of views? And can she tell us how exactly did she earn the title of being a border czar? How many of the white guys that convinced black people to put them in office have locked up black people? Or you happily vote for who wanted Central Park 5? How many people were wrongfully convicted? And that's wrong. And that's one of the, that's wrong. But he's not the one that convicted them, free thinker. I understand that part was problematic, but to overlook everything else I said and to just focus on that, people make mistakes. That's a mistake that should not have happened. No, he denied the reparation bill, wouldn't accept it. There's a whole thing about Obama. He could have accepted it. He gave the money to Indians that were already wealthy and said that blacks didn't have we weren't ready to accept reparations, so he denied the bill that the Republican Party tried to pass in 2015 with reparations. So that's overlooked that, right? Yes, but they went behind the doors and just said, give a little appreciation. I said Obama did what he could. No, I disagree, Trinigo, because he could have accepted the bill. They are deeply programmed, unfortunately, MU. I understand that, Maverick. I see. You are, so now you calling me out my name, Mary? I haven't called you out your name. I haven't lied about anything. I know I work for district attorney. I saw blacks get fired. What did I lie about, Mary? Hmm? I've also worked for attorneys as well. I didn't work for the district attorney, but I understand very well what I see. So what did I lie about? And why the strong rhetoric? I understand that, Mary, and I'm not taking away your point of view and the way that you feel about it, but you know, I think that when it comes to voting and when it comes to the prosecutors and stuff like that was a problem. And I'm not going to say that she had a good record in California because unless you worked for Kamala, I understand you may have worked for someone else. She has a horrible history here, and she does. Can you say out loud what he's actually been convicted of? Are you talking about Trump? Donald Trump is a criminal. Whatever Donald Trump has done hasn't disqualified him from for running for president. So he's still a presidential nominee regardless of his background. So, if you guys want to change that, then you'd have to change some laws that have been passed. Biden is sick. He is. And he apparently seemed to be the last to know. But he did the right thing by dropping out of the election. And I'm glad he's going to finish his term for a lot of reasons. See, I can be fair. People who, people who People who think have gone to public records regarding Kamala prosecutor's record. It was 45. The greater name of commissions, and they don't prosecute cases. Not a free thinker. She was very problematic in California. Trump wasn't qualified when he first got in office, though, but he did a heck of a job. He did. And it was really too bad that he didn't win this next election. I can understand his anger and a lot of the American people's anger. But with the Republican Party, when we lose, we just walk away and be like, okay, all right. It's in her book, Folklore. I don't have her book in front of me. And they even spoke about that book. I don't have the book in front of me. Free thinker, you support a woman with no children, but takes upon herself to force yours to accept being placed in unsafe situations like gender neutral restroom or calling CPS if you disagree. Exactly. She good at locking people up. Exactly, Star Magic. Montrese said when Donald Trump was in office, he was playing golf for a year and a half. A lot of presidents do that, and you have to have a way to unwind. Y'all have a better, this is something else, but at least I have a better perspective. Okay, free thinker, have a good day. Hey, Terry. Donald Trump had, oh, God. So just because the people she locked up was black while she was doing her job, no, it had to do with the sentencing, how long they were able to keep people there, even past their sentencing. Is trying to go. There's a lot more than just locking people up. The harsh sentencing, the over sentencing. There's a lot more to it, Trinigo. So no, and again, I live here. I know exactly what happened here. Mary says, "Let me tell you, there are so many people with white mom and black dad say they are white. So what? She didn't recognize her dad. She didn't recognize her heritage. She's the one that chose to separate herself from blacks, and you can tell from her sentencing and the way that she treated them. You can just look at her record in California. But again, I'm not here to change you guys' minds about anything at all. I just find it sad that people are not willing to try something new when the way that they have been doing it hasn't worked. It just hasn't worked. What's false folklore? Her words? Well, you gotta tell her. Kamala made a Kamala made this about race to ponder to black women. Has never claimed about she never claimed any part of being black. She always kept herself separated from anything black. And suddenly she's a black woman. F out of here. Exactly. Folklore says I haven't even looked that up yet, but I'm sure you won't cite any source saying the Republicans had a bill for reparations. They did have a bill for reparations. Folklore. That's not made up. It's not my I can't help ignorance. If you don't, and I'm not saying that you're ignorant, but the very fact that what I just said is it's easy to search that. They did pass a bill for reparations. Okay? I don't need to cite a source for history. It happened. I got you, Star Magic. So, do I have the book in front of me? No. Do but history is history. And she has not claimed black heritage. She said that was not her heritage. She said that even though her dad was from Jamaica. So if you want to be mad at somebody, be mad at her. I'm only taking her words. I did Mary, okay, when did I say she prosecuted blacks only? When did I say that? When? Did anybody else in the chat? I only have 18 of you here. Did y'all hear me say that Kamala only prosecuted black people? So that's where the emotions come in. It's not a life folklore. Miss Harry's not the only person or black attorney sent. I didn't say she was, Mary. Now that I agree with Miss Diva, but a lot of people didn't die for that reason. They died because it was a virus that spread, and people didn't know how to treat it. We didn't have a vaccine for it, and they didn't want to cause a mass panic. You can't blame Trump for people dying from the C virus. Back to the topic, Lisa. You can't blame Trump for that. I know you guys would like to, but that was actually the end of Obama's era. But nevertheless, I can't blame either president for that. It was something that we really haven't been through and we didn't know how to deal with it. And it was a scary time, all right, with the virus. Okay. Those presidents also did their job. He didn't. Miss Harris is the only politician that sent black men to prison. And being a cornbread, this is exactly what I've been saying, and no one is hearing me. Regardless of what black people were sentenced, they were able to stay there longer. It became up to the prisons whether or not to release them based on their discretion. It was completely unfair. It was over sentencing. And that's not made up history. That's what happened. Miss Harris is the only politician to send black women to prison and keep them there past their sentences because she has stock in the prison industry. So, okay, I've been reading a lot of comments because I think that it's always good to have these conversations, and it's a problem when we're only willing to hear one side and we want to deny the fact that the black leaders before us thrived in the Republican Party. We want to overlook that history to fit whatever history we want to believe in, a history that has not a party that has not worked for us. We want to praise that party instead of looking at, wait a minute, why did the Republican Party work for us? What did they believe in? What are their core values? Because all the other stuff so far that I have seen in the chat, I'm like, okay, I don't think we're looking at the big picture. Your pleasure says, misunderstood. Thanks for being so knowledgeable and sharing. Thank you. Your pleasure. Anytime. I know that some people hear me. I know. The last false claim you made was that Republicans presented a bill for reparations. That is not a false claim. A journalist sat down with Obama and had a conversation on why he would not accept a bill for reparations. Obama said that we were not ready for that. That's not a false claim. And that just lets me know, folklore, that I don't know how you do your research, but we don't do research the same because that is not false. and it's not hard to look up. And if I was on my computer, I would show it to you. But I'm here to speak the truth, not misrepresent any information the way it's passed down, and it's not always going to be a pretty truth. That's not my fault. And it's not always going to be comfortable, but history is a painful subject a lot of times. But the Republicans definitely passed a bill for reparations. Okay? It is hard to keep up with, and if I was on my computer, I would pull that up for you, but I'm on my phone. So we're not going to get fancy. But if you're in a chat another day when I'm on my laptop, then I will do that for you. Or you can send me a message to my Instagram and I will send you an article. Okay. All I'm saying is look the stuff up, have an open mind before y'all attack me. Don't call me a liar and things like that, because we all do research. Okay. And I'm willing to show you guys my sources and where I get the information from. And again, that was passed in 2015. And so folklore, are we not going to acknowledge that that it was also given in 1865 with reparations, folklore, and it was given to the former slave owners for their loss when it should have been given to the ones that? When do you ever give the loser money or repay the loser of the war? But that's what happened. The slave owners were paid. Reparations was paid out during then. So that history is probably, it's not false folklore. I can't have you putting false things in the chat just because you don't like it. It's not false. And you're not going to tell me that my years of research and my years, for decades actually, of being involved, you're not going to tell me that your 2-minute search is going to trump, I hate to use that word right now, is going to trump what I've been a part of and learned. I've been very active in my own state, folklore. So your 2-minute search isn't going to triumph that. Just saying, respectfully. All right. Star Magic says, I don't think Kamala is bad. They twist every politician's actions. I just think Trump gonna make America money, which will help everyone. It will help everyone. Star Magic. A wealthier economy is better for the whole. For the whole. And I think that's where the Republican interest lies, as far as having strong families. There's a reason why they look into the families. We want strong families and strong leaders for this country. We don't want all of this other stuff. We just don't. We don't want to allow everyone in. We are concerned about our taxes. You know, Trump talked about not having the waitresses' checks and their tip amounts taxed. He is thinking about ways to make everybody more money, because some of those waitresses, the taxes are high. They get paid $2 and something an hour, which is unbelievable. In California, they still make a decent wage. But I did not know, traveling to Wisconsin, how little the waitresses make, and they have to depend on tips and then they get taxed out of it. And that's something that Trump did talk about changing. He did talk about the price of gas, which is much higher now. He's speaking about it. You can't even go to the grocery store and buy organic food without paying an arm and a leg for it. So that's just where we are right now. And it doesn't have to be that way. And if he's looking for solutions to stop all that, talking about taxes and making all those things lower, I'm for it. I'm going to always be for a wealthier economy. Just because she graduated from so you're telling me that no white person has graduated from an HBCU information? Because the last I checked, that does not just make you black. She, like I said, it actually, that goes to prove my point. When it's convenient, then let's just be black, right? But when it comes to being in a political office, why would she write a book saying that that is not her heritage? Information. That's your name, information. So bring the information. Star Magic says, I don't think Kamala's. Oh, I read the part. She's good at doing her job. If you do the crime, you get locked up no matter what race you are. Trying to go, but past your sentence, past what a judge thinks. So you leave that in the hands of the prison system, where it's designed, where they make so much money from the prisoners. Okay? We can't deny how much the prison system make. The way that we over incarcerate people, keep them in sentences, keep them for non-violent crimes for so long. I can't agree with that, Trinigal. If you didn't take somebody else's life, I don't believe in being sentenced for, you know. Folklore, you just want to attack. I can't. I can't. You know, if that's what you want to do, that's just what you want to do. I'm on my phone, so I have to be very It is what it is. That's a fact, being cornbread. The bottom line is she's more qualified than a current Republican candidate. How? That's a very generic statement that you're just throwing out there. How is she more qualified? Says whom? Says who? Who says that she's more qualified? He said he didn't think. Okay, a lot of people, Ms. Diva, to you, didn't know that much about the virus when it first came out, and they were trying to figure it out. We didn't have a vaccination for it, but he did scramble to try to find answers without causing mass hysteria as far as the virus goes. You can't blame him because that actually happened at the end of Obama's presidency and he came into office. It wasn't really talked about. You can't really blame him. I mean, the virus came and we had to deal with it, and here we are today, still dealing with it. He never speaks on policy, just personal attacks. I don't like that information. See, I can agree with something, but his character is also attacked. Answer my question back to the topic. Wait, did you ask a question, Lisa? Did I miss it? Hang on. I don't see your question, Lisa. Maybe it's too far up. I wasn't trying to skip it. I just couldn't see it. I never got co-shot, or I got the virus. I mean, the vaccination, and I caught COVID about 5 times. I don't blame him. I truly like him. He's funny, but not for a president. I'd rather vote for special party. What special party? We were lied to. Freudian slip. Who lied to you, Folklore? Folklore, don't attack me. I'm being very um patient, mostly because I don't know how to remove the comment, and I definitely don't know how to time out, and I'm trying to let you guys just speak. But what you're not gonna do is attack me. You're not gonna do any of the fallacies in debate by making it seem like I'm doing something by reading in reverse order. See, there you go. You're thinking too much about the wrong thing. And for somebody that couldn't even research when the reparation bill was passed, you damn sure can't figure me out. Okay? Because it takes longer than 2 minutes to do that. Child, there's so many innocent folks in prison. Now what? It is, Mary, but does that make it right? Montrese says Barack Obama had doctors in place just in case something like that was ever going to happen, and Donald Trump let them go to hell. You guys are not going to tell me that it's all Trump's fault about this virus. You're just not going to do that. Doctors in place in case things happen for his family. What did that have to do with any of us? Beans and Cornbread said, I watched Beans and Cornbread, they want to ignore facts. I watched Kamala send a black woman to jail because her daughter missed school due to her sickle cell disease. I sat in traffic and watched her put the woman in the squad car. It was terrible. Folklore, don't come telling me what to do. I just told you, if I have to speak slower, that I'm on my phone. I can't. Now look it up because your fingers are free. Okay? Now move the fuck on. Mary said, yes, many hear you, but you can't promote him for YouTube. Mary, listen, I'm not trying to promote him, but I find it information. Y'all not about to try to jump me on my own platform. Listen, I find it, I just find it problematic that instead of looking at ideas, people want to attack a person and demonize a person, all because we can't have a civil conversation about something. Oh, Folklore, that tells me enough about you. Enough said. I understand. So good luck with your research. You should be a doctorate with that kind of logic. No, it's not, Folklore. So you are sadly mistaken. People with master's degree sources have opposite views on a lot of stuff. You guys cite your source for God first. Okay, here's something I can actually. I'm not trying to get into people's emotional rhetoric because they want to cry from my chat. Ms. Diva to you says Trump wants to take away women's rights. He said that several times. He said that several times. Let's not forget his VP running candidate on the same matter. Okay, Ms. Diva to you, that's a complicated situation, but I'm glad that you actually brought up a you brought up something of substance, right? I'm somebody that's pro-life as well. I feel that every child has the right to live. And who are we to take that right away? I believe that you're a human being from conception, and some people may not like that. I understand that there's traumatic circumstances, but at the end of the day, I feel that every child has a right to live. So does that make me a bad person? Right, Montrese. I can agree with that. When did you begin researching Ms. MU? You was on drugs, we met, no shade taken. But regardless of my past and me using drugs and stuff like that, I've always been highly intelligent. I went to the military, I went to college, I did a lot of things, and I've lived a very successful life. So people can try to talk about me being on drugs and my background, but clearly I have done well for myself. And I do believe, and that kind of supports my Republican values. Everybody can change it. Everybody can make their life better if they choose to. And a lot of people that want to talk about me on drugs and stuff like that haven't accomplished half of the things that I have. And I accomplished things very early in life, and it has carried me very well through later years in life, and nobody could take that away from me. So people can talk about drugs because they don't have anything else. And it's interesting when somebody doesn't like my point of view, they want to bring up my background. But I went to college, I'm very close to my degree, and I went to the military and I earned my East West pin and all those kind of things. And you can't take my background away. I also happened to work for two civil attorneys and I did very well under them, Mary. So what's the point that you're trying to make? Hmm? A lot of people just try to use that the same way they're trying to bring up all this other stuff that's not really relevant to the conversation. I see the stars at least. Information says, but you just got clean, and how could you be so active for so many years? No disrespect, I'm proud of your recovery. I have been very active, especially in San Diego when I worked for civil attorneys. I have been, are you telling me that there are not functioning addicts? And I've had clean time, and I think you guys might forget how old I am, okay? Because I was always interested in politics. But to try to take that away because of a path that I've taken, do you know how many famous people and how many politicians and other people have struggled with substances? So you're trying to tell me that I can't think because I had a problem that I've overcome? I don't understand. I don't understand, but thank you for your sentiment on the last part of that. But I feel that that's part of the stigmas with addiction. I've lived a very successful life, and I once it became a problem and my life started to fall apart, I changed, and I think that that's a important message for a lot of people. So all the things that I'm doing now are things that I'm getting back into before I became strong. Matrice, don't make me block you, fool. How you doing, hustler and muscular? Because I will. I'll figure that shit out real fast, okay? Because it's not cap. I am proud of my recovery. And the things that I'm talking about now are things that I was very interested before I got involved in something else. So I'm not gonna let you ignorant mofos try to put me down for that, because this is what recovery looks like. Now move on and stick to the damn subject. Most people are not critical thinkers. Mary, you guys can try to say whatever you want to say about my addiction. I'm still proud of the things that I have accomplished despite of that. Okay? That's all I'm saying. There says she's not black. I told people this 4 years ago. She told people she's not black. You claim she said she wasn't black. That is true folklore. You're just saying stuff. You could say that she's biracial, but you're not going to tell me what she said in her book, especially one that you have not read. Okay? Because I know good and damn well that is not something you're going to find from some Google search if you don't have that book in front of you. So be quiet. She says being black is not her only heritage and that is not a true statement. No, that's not what she said, information. She said that was not her heritage in the book. That's not what she said. Okay? So who cares what she says? Trump says a lot of dumb stuff too. Beans is so misunderstood. Beans so is Ms. MU. What are you talking about? Let me go back to Beans. How am I biracial, Mary? What two races do I have? I've claimed to be bicultural. My family had, but as far as my parents are both black. So how am I biracial? We do have Puerto Rican ethnicity within us, but that's not a race. That's an ethnicity. So people always try to misquote that. Kimmy, hey, is that Kimmy said it's good? Thank you, Kimmy. It's good to represent all perspectives, 100%. So I'm glad you're sharing yours. Thank you. I appreciate that. I do. Folklore said I'm exhausted. You should be exhausted attacking me because one thing you're not gonna do is come in here and tell me what I should believe, what I haven't did, and call me a liar. Because some of us live in California and we know the history of Kamala that you guys are not understanding. Okay. Mary says I'm not into it with this. How in the world was you so into this when you've been sober for 945 days? Mary, let me ask you this because you don't know me the way some other people know me. I have always been involved with politics. I have always cared about the views and the values of the Republican Party. So I'm not sure what you're talking about. So you're trying to tell me that just because I haven't been sober past 2.5 years means that I have not worked for the attorneys, the civil attorneys that I worked for, that I didn't go to college. You're trying to discredit everything else, Mary. So I can't help your ignorance. You can help that because my history is still what it is. I know the town hall meetings I sat in, and that's some of you that want to attack me for the addiction and stuff. Y'all need to start with the people in your family. You need to start there. Now, it's not my fault if they were not as capable, and I'm not trying to put people down with addictions, but don't you dare come in here and tell me that I am not as that I am not a person that can speak on these kind of things because I also speak about addiction. You're not gonna come in here and tell me that, all right? Oh, I hate the fact that I don't have a laptop to come. But if you guys actually had, I can't even go on anybody else's platform and have this conversation until my laptop is fixed. But I'm very passionate about what I'm talking about. And as we are closer to the election, I will keep talking about it. Okay, because we have to be able to understand the Democratic Party and the Republican Party is not one-sided. It's not. So the very fact, and I'll also in another conversation talk about why you don't see independent presidential candidates last. I'll talk about that and how these other third party, the other candidates from other parties, how it benefits the two major political parties. I'll talk about that on another live stream. But don't come in here and tell me I don't know what I'm talking about, especially when you want me to do your homework, folklore, and say, hey, cite this, cite that. When I'm talking about history, I spoke about the 14th Amendment, I spoke about the 15th Amendment. You do your homework, and it takes longer than 2 minutes to figure it all out. And Trump was foolish for using black rappers to get votes. Trinago, you know what? People can say whatever they want. You try to relate to people. You can't say that he's full of ish. I think that propaganda is a hell of a thing, and it's problematic for people to always try to point the bad things out about Trump and not look at some of the good things. Okay, I didn't hear anybody say, you know what, let me not accept the stimulus check. I didn't hear anybody say anything. The cost of gas was lower. It was lower, and right now the economy is crazy, and you can keep raising minimum wage all that you want, but we have this thing called inflation and everything is more expensive now. So I don't care if people are making $20, $30 an, well, what is it, California, $18, $20 for minimum wage. Everything is more expensive now, everything. And if you raise minimum wage, all they're going to do is raise the price for products. Mary says it's all right for you to vote for him and you however you want others. however you want others, that's wrong. Mary, you attacked my sobriety, my recovery, and saying and tried to undermine my beliefs and said that I cannot possibly know what I was talking about because of my drug history. Let me tell you this. I'm not trying to convince you of anything, but I do think it's problematic to praise the Democratic Party and not look at the history of the Democratic Party. So I told you guys that the Republican Party has fought for the rights of Black people, and the Democratic Party tried to not only try to take it away, they did take it away. And when Blacks were independently wealthy, they destroyed Black Wall Street because they don't want to see a wealthy economy in Blacks. They want us dependent on their programs and their promises, because as long as they make these promises to Black people, they get funds and finances for these promises that they never, ever follow through with. And every time it's funds specifically for Black people, it's not allocated to Black people. It's anything goes. And you saw the same thing with affirmative action and all these other things. The programs never work just for Black people. It hasn't helped. So I cannot erase the racist history of the Democratic Party and say, oh, it's going to be good now, because it hasn't been. When we were independently wealthy, when we were in office, they tore us out of office. They did. Hey, mulatto. And it's interesting. It's interesting. Everyone's cursing today. It's interesting that people want to deny that, and they want to say, hey, look at this, look at that, and look at what Trump said and did. I'm looking at these policies that were dangerous to Black people. That's what I'm looking at. MU is too nice. Still lying no matter how you try to spin it. Folklore, I don't have a mod to time you out, but you call me a liar one more time and you're out of here. Okay? Because I haven't attacked you guys. And the only reason I'm letting this comment ride, I held this in for a long time. I don't know when my laptop's gonna be fixed. So I can't do a proper live stream. But I have to say what I'm gonna say for another time. My grandfather was a white man, no lie. How is that in context? I'm glad that okay, your grandfather was a white man. Thank you for the background, Mary. I appreciate that. Kimmy's right, and it's really nice when we can share ideas without attacking each other. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Let me go through this book. Let me see if I can still order it. That would be one better free thinker. Let me see if I can get my hands on it, and I will. If I can get my hands on that book, I'll order it tonight for you guys. Okay? If y'all want me to, I will. Mary's an addict too. Mary's an addict? Mary, are you an addict? MU, sit on timeout for this few. This is not about. What did she say, Trinagal? Can you tell me the comment? Don't send it to my phone because you'll knock me off my stream. What did she say, Mary? Was it an attack? Because I'll gladly address. Yes, MU. MU too nice. I can't find her comment. Let me say this. You guys, that's part of the problems. I go to these other spaces and I'm attacked for my ideas, and I probably shouldn't go to these other spaces because I'm very vocal about stuff. But you cannot have a conversation with everybody thinking the same. We have to be able to share ideas. We have to be able to. I'm not here cursing y'all out. I'm not here telling you guys to vote Republican or Democrat. I'm simply telling you why I vote Republican. I live in California. California is there. It's primary. It's a liberal state. I'm on the outside of that. And I know what I stand for. And I'm simply telling you guys why. And I do not see where she said she wasn't Black. Do you believe current minimum wage is a livable wage that keeps people off of social business? I'm not sure what you mean by that. She did say that, free thinker, so I'm not sure if you're looking at the same thing that I had, but I'll have to look at it after the stream. Just remind me, I'm sure you will. Do you believe current minimum wage is a livable wage? It depends on where you live. I know out here, if you work at a fast food restaurant, it's 20. You A lot of places are offering 20 an hour, 21. I think that that's insane for a fast food restaurant, because where do you go from there? I think so what you saw, so these restaurants you go to, like I went into who was it the other day? Took my son to McDonald's or something for some nuggets, right? And there was no cashier. It's like one person, and then you had to use a kiosk. That's what you're gonna see is just people laid off because your employee is a business owner's biggest expense. So go ahead and keep raising the price of minimum wage. You're gonna just see more people out of work because they won't be able to afford their businesses. Star Magic. You got 25 in your chat and time me out. I don't really care how many people I have in my chat. I definitely have a new audience now, Mary, and not everybody I didn't see your comment, Mary, because I would have responded to you. I don't care if I only have 8 people in my chat. I'm gonna say what I need, and eventually most people watch my uploads now, and that's okay. When you're not beefing and stuff like that. I really don't care how many people is in my chat. But enough of your insults, Mary. I have a strong support team that supports me, and a lot of them support me behind the scenes. And I really don't need to talk about my channel or how many people's in my chat to people that think that, oh, okay, she's not successful, whatever, because she only has a few people in her chat, whatever. I'm still gonna say what I need to say because it needs to be heard. And I'm very passionate about what I'm talking about. So try not to get my attention too much. Shit. Oh, King is live. Hey, King. Facts aren't welcome here. Folklore, don't get timed out. You got one more time to insult my open chat. If I have to add a moderator to time you out, I will, because that's the last time you're gonna attack me. Let me stay focused. Let me say this. We were when we were a Republican, those are the days that I think about because we were strong in office and it was white men, white people, the Republican Party at that time that elected black men into the office. And they recognized the fact that we needed to be involved and we also needed to hold positions, and they were high positions. We were judges, we were representatives. I believe it was two from the no, I'm sorry, two senators, and then the House of Representatives, and then we were in the House of Representatives, and then we held other office spaces, right? And unfortunately, when the federal troops left the South, then things have changed, and we've been lost since then. But when it came to the Reconstruction era, we're not going to say that blacks were not progressing. And I know they keep painting it. I said this earlier in my stream. They keep painting it as this dark era. And indeed, there was a lot of civil unrest. But we were very active. And we were lied to by the Democratic Party. And the Democratic Party was not willing to let blacks be that free, to let us hold place in Congress. And then they tried to intimidate us with the Klan. That did not come with the Republican Party. And I don't care how you guys try to rewrite history. That is what the hell happened. We were very prosperous. And then to be told to pull ourselves up from bootstraps and not give it anything, we did pull ourselves up. We had Black Wall Street, only for the Democratic Party to tear down Black Wall Street. And they took away our wealth. And we keep, every time we are independently wealthy, they destroy that wealth. Why? And even when we were given a right to vote, they passed these grandfather clauses, they passed these literacy tests, and then it was poll taxes that we couldn't afford. And then we had laws like vagrancy and stuff like that to keep us down. And you want to go back, if you're saying I'm going too far back, we can speed up to Clinton. We can talk about the super predator. We could talk about the war on drugs that was targeted to black people. It was targeted, and it was to take us out and to lock us up and to put us in another kind of slavery. And that happened with the Democratic Party. We're going to talk about the three strikes law. We can talk about mandatory minimums. We can talk about stand your ground, which I have a different passion about that because that's part of ALEC. We don't want to talk about ALEC, but we want to talk about Project 2025. I'm not understanding this. So when people want to come in here and try to attack my characters because they want to attack my character because they can't attack my facts. They can try. What? It did happen, folklore. It did. And if I made it up, how come a lot of other news sources are saying the same damn thing when they're quoting her book? I didn't make it up. So just because you haven't seen it yourself doesn't mean it didn't exist. So we really have to stop with that. Now, look, maybe I went too far. I'm saying I'm leaving politics is a bad debate with folks. It's not a bad debate, Mary. You are entitled to your opinion. I'm not even that offended by the drug thing because I can understand that a little, but I just think that we have to be really careful to attack oh God, I sound like Kimmy now, to attack ideas and not people, because I'm not here to misrepresent anything, and I gave you guys actual instances in history that I don't need to quote a source for, when you can just look it up. You can look up the 14th Amendment, you can look up the 15th Amendment, all these things that was passed by Republican president. You can look up um you can look it up, the Klan and all of that, and the racism in the South that they still experience, and they experience it from because of the Democratic Party. And I already told you that if you wanted more information on that, instead of trying to bombard me in my stream while I'm using my phone, you can send me an email, and you can send me an Instagram, and I will respond gladly. But I can't respond to ignorance, and I can't respond to, oh, okay, let's just attack MU's character. And it is what it is. It is what it is. I get it. And there's people that I look at, again, Frederick Douglass is one. But again, if you want to just keep it recent, you want to keep it current, look at how mandatory minimums have affected the Black community. And did they know what they were doing? Did Hillary Clinton not come out here and apologize to the Black community for using the term super predators and saying that our children and things like that were predator? Must be how I am talking to you, MU. Okay, I gotta go back to see what you're saying. I was not trying to insult her because I care for her. I am so sorry. Mary, I accept your apology. Let me say this to you guys. I I'm not offended by the drug comment, but it just has to be taken in perspective. Okay, how could I have been so involved with politics and on drugs? I've always cared about politics since I was a young girl, which is why, for some of you that don't know, I worked for a civil attorney in two civil attorneys in San Diego, and I loved it. I love law. I used to sit in town hall meetings and all of those things. I didn't start using drugs till later in life, well, after the military and stuff like that. But even as I was in drugs, I still was on drugs. I still was involved with a lot of stuff in my community. I was a very functioning addict, and I'm just going back to all the things that I love. So I just feel that that kind of took away from the conversation. But am I upset about it? No, because I've been very vocal about my past. And a a lot of people are in high places, strung out on drugs. They deal with stress. Everybody deals with stress a different way. Okay. A lot of successful people use drugs. So it's problematic to think otherwise. Star Magic says, how about doing $1 million each for reparations? That's not a bad idea. At least you're coming up with solutions. Why is it relevant, Mary? Mary, why is it relevant? They're asking you a valid question. Folklore, you're just angry. I don't know what your problem is. I have to pray for you. No way. So you guys, there's a lot. Now, off subject. So did I answer your question? I missed y'all. I really wanted to connect and do a live stream. And I do thank you guys for your participation in these kind of subjects. It does mean a lot to me. And when I hear people say that their vote doesn't matter, it hurts, because there's some people that absolutely can't vote, and our vote does matter. That's why people fight so hard for the Black vote. And it's not just a Black vote. White people don't feel left out. But you never had problems voting. Hey, Skillet, I haven't seen you in a minute. So when I'm saying anything about the Black vote, because I have a very diverse audience, I'm not excluding y'all. I'm not. Thank you, Maverick. But we can't rewrite history. And now Free Thinker was in here earlier, and she said that she wants to stay current. I could talk about the past. The past does matter, because this party that we didn't even talk about. Y'all know when the cops. Let me finish my thought. I don't want to get scatterbrained. You have to look at the past, especially when you're talking about the present and the current laws and things like that. How did they come about? How was the Democratic Party established? You have to look at the past. You damn sure better know the past, especially as they're trying to take history out of Black history, not just Black history, but they're trying to rewrite history and trying to make it seem like it was this peaceful thing. Oh, Blacks just, the slaves. they got skills to, what did DeSantis say? And DeSantis is a Republican. See, I don't like all thoughts of Republicans. DeSantis saying that we got skills, we learned skills from slavery. That was DeSantis. Okay, I don't like that. But within the Republican Party, I have to be able to express my views because I have conservative views. And it doesn't mean I'm going to like everything. Project 2025. All right. Manual for a conservative president. Right wing ideas. Well, you guys wanted to know what are right wing values. Some, not all. Some of it's problematic, and the person that started it has stepped down. But instead of talking about Project 2025, I'm just wondering, why did we skip ALEC? These corporations writing bills that's passed. These bills are passed at a faster rate than what Congress can pass them. Congress has about a 6% chance. The last I checked, ALEC. Now these stats are not the latest stats, so don't quote me on them. But the last I checked, it was 36% from ALEC. So the new census came out in 2021, right? So I don't know the current stats because I haven't checked from that, but I'm going to say that no matter what the statistics are, there never should have been an ALEC. Corporations should never have been involved in writing laws. That's where you get your stand your ground laws from. These laws that Congress never would have passed were passed through ALEC. So it is important to understand these things and to have conversations about them. No vote is a vote. Is it a good or a bad vote? None of them have my best interest in heart. Okay, Skillet, now here's the thing. Now, I understand not voting for any president, but to skip all the bills, but to... What's up, Matt? But there's other things to vote for. Okay, let me figure out. I'm on my phone. Rico, I'm not sure how to do that. There's a guest button. Let me see what happens when I press this button. Guest? Invite guest. Okay. Copy. Wait a minute. We may have figured this out. But how do I drop it in the chat? I don't know how to do this. More. Post, comment, stream. I don't know how to drop a link from my phone. I'll try to. Can I drop it on my community wall? Will that work? Guest button, copy and chat. But how do I drop it in the chat, Rico? I don't know how to do that. So I hit paste it to the comments. I don't understand that shit. Paste it to what comment? Banners. Okay, let me try to figure this out. Paste it to the comment. Should I use a second device like a phone? I don't know how to do this. Post. Okay, so do I hit the more button, y'all? Press comments on the side, then paste it. Okay. I don't see comments on the side. Go to more. Post comment. Let me push post comment and see. Oh, wait, maybe this is it. Post a comment. How come it's not pasting? Oh, here we go. Wait. I think I may have figured it out. Post. Oh, wait. Paste. Let me know if this works. Enter. Chat. Do y'all see anything in the chat? All right. This will be my first time doing it, so we'll see what happens. I'm hungry. Just like the computer version, just expand it. Okay. So how do I know when a person's back there? Let's try this out. I'm opening up the chat to free. It's posted. Oh, cool. Thank you. Let me see if I can pin it. Thank you. Star comment, delete comment. If I star the comment, what does that do? Star the comment. Okay, let me not get fancy. I'm gonna leave it just like that. I'm gonna open up the chat. I said my rhetoric about it. I'll give another comment, especially when I can get on my laptop. I will, if push comes to shove, I will buy another laptop. But I'm opening up the chat to whatever you guys want to talk about now. I'm hungry. Oh wait, it says guest. Okay, let me figure this out. Let me see. So guest. Add to.
What's up?
Hey. Okay.
You can hear me? You good?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. Let me see if I can put you on your side up here. Oh wait, I can move you. Okay.
It's better than you could literally just take it and move it. But
Um, thank you, Maverick. I'm learning. So, what do you think about what I said? How are you? First off,
I'm all right. I just got in. I'm going viral for this shit right here. This politics shit.
I'm so passionate about it, and it sucks because you guys, I have this that I think I told you guys. So my lithium, you're out of here, Mary. I don't know. Are you okay? I I don't want anybody to leave feeling offended. It's a passionate conversation, but what I am happy about is that we can have the conversation and not beat each other up.
Yeah.
But I am passionate about what I'm talking about. We keep voting the same with the same results, and I don't understand it. And everybody wants to demonize Trump, but Trump has done a lot for black people. And my thing is, regardless of who's racist or not, I'm looking at the policies that's going to benefit us and which party wants to make us wealthier. We cannot be dependent on a government. How can a system oppress you and also help you? So you want to talk about the police, you want to talk about all of these things and skip over the fact that you want to talk about all that stuff, but I'm for the party that is going to allow me to prosper. And when blacks were the wealthiest, the Democratic Party made legislature to take that wealth away. Okay, Mary. Okay. I don't want you to leave offended because I get you. I get you. And I appreciate your thoughts, Mary. I do. You know, no one talks about Black Wall Street that was turned down by the Democratic Party. No one wants to talk about why we had what we call cops now, but they were called slave patrols and all the intimidation at the voting booths. No one wants to talk about that. So when I'm speaking facts, they want to throw up everything else. Oh, what about this? I heard this, but I'm speaking facts. I'm talking about the 14th and the 15th Amendment when the Republican Party, a Republican president, gave all black men the right to vote. And during the Reconstruction era, they elected black men to serve in Congress. Those things happened.
Mm.
Hey, Alexis, go ahead. I said enough. I'm gonna go on mute.
I'm gonna say this right. I took it offensive as a black man. First and foremost, my antennas. I start raising my antennas because I'm thinking, why every time like election time comes around, they try to pander to my blackness. You know what I'm saying? Or they try to get me upset because of some racial issue that's taking place. Right? When I found out that the first 15 presidents were Democrats, that shocked me because I was always under the impression that the Republicans is who enslaved us. The Republicans is who did all of this. And then I find out the Republicans were actually started to counteract slavery. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes,
it made me feel disrespected. Then I'm thinking the first Republican president was knocked off. They got the nerve to say that President like Trump faked his own shooting and shit as if they ain't been trying to kill presidents, as if they haven't made attempts on other presidents, as if four presidents haven't got killed already. You know what I'm saying?
facts. And they're skipping over. So they want to say that about Trump. Nobody's gonna fake almost getting their head blown off. Okay, the FBI has confirmed the shooting, and they're forgetting about why is it that happens to a Republican president? Are we forgetting about Reagan and the assassination attempt with him and Hinckley? And the fact that the Secret Service was told about the shooter and for no response. And then
13,
for Kim
13 people,
Cheetah, okay, thank you for that.
13 presidents were attempt. They made attempts on 13 presidents' lives, and only three Democrats. We got
Okay, thank you. Right, Biz of Cornbread. It's just sad how when it happens with the Republican president, right? It shouldn't happen, but it did happen. The Secret Service failed in a horrific way. And when you look at it, how they failed to respond, even when they were looking at him, asking questions about Matthew, the gunman, nothing happened. And for Kim Cheadle to not want to give out the detail and not, which I don't blame her for not telling the detail of the Secret Service agents. I don't blame her for that. But for not stepping down. When that happened with Reagan, the head of the Secret Service stepped down immediately. But it didn't happen with Trump. And then they have the nerve to say that
they
he faked it. Oh,
that
okay.
was disrespect. That was super disrespect, right? Then that's number one. But the thing is, the whole conversation is this. This is the headlines now, right? That black people need to vote for Democrat, and I feel like it's like they've been that vote, that Democrat by default thing is offends me because it's like, okay, don't use my color to get my vote and then don't do shit for me. You know what I'm saying? I feel like all of the presidents. I'm 50 years old, so I've been around to see and experience what they do, and what they don't do. When they say that
Exactly.
Trump didn't do anything for anybody, well, we do have the historically black community, excuse me, historically black colleges that gets permanent funding for now on, per Trump, right? But we can also look at SBA because it feels like us, we fight for the projects, we fight for bail reform. Nigga, I don't want to fight for bail reform. I don't even want people getting bail. You know what I'm saying? I don't want people getting locked up, and I don't want to speak for people that's being locked up as if it's synonymous with black people. Let's talk about the money that's being flushed into the Small Business Administration, all the opportunities that we have. And I'm gonna land with this. On top of all of that, right? Things that's available for us financially as black people. People say, "What are you gonna do for us?" Well, the economy affects us. Inflation. People think that's just a word. Inflation means, for the people in the back that don't understand, that means when Trump was here and you went to the supermarket with $100, you had came out with 10 bags and still have money for gas. Today, you can't do that. That's
That's
inflation.
right. That's right, Mac.
Fact.
Hey, Barn Dog. Hey, everybody that came in. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm using my phone, so if I'm not
Farm salute.
responding or,
Oh,
hey,
you
Big
good?
Big
You good?
Slick. But Mac, you definitely touched on a lot of stuff, and I be in your time. You're talking about this stuff, and I do appreciate more people speaking about right wing ideas ideas and talking about the problems. So we're not saying how to vote or anything like that, but we're telling you the problems from the Democratic Party and the lies that it's painted like the Republican Party is the one that wants to save us and all of these things, and that is not the case.
They target the person, but they don't spotlight the policy. And this is what the argument is, right?
Rico, I was about
We
to bring you in. I was about to hear what you were gonna say. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, let's take the person away from the situation, right? Let's get less emotional about the person and let's look at the policy as it pertains to America and not black people. Because let me tell you something, right? Black people, don't minimize who you are by keep on calling yourself African Americans, Afro Americans, because you don't see no Puerto Rican Americans, you don't see Mexican Americans. Stop letting them put you in that box, using you for the vote, but yet don't you can't cash out. You're not getting anything, for you. I truly believe that giving anybody something hurts them. Let me give you one quick example. If somebody comes to you and you're constantly giving, let's say for instance, if you give black people, let's say this is what you call reparations, let's give everybody that's of color $1,000 every month, right? Then if you look at the migrant crisis, they're complaining about that. The migrants don't have a specific color, but they're saying, okay, you're giving these people money. What are they doing with the money? They're not doing anything. You don't empower a person by giving them anything. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you spotlight them as their, spotlighting their importance, but don't actually do anything for them in return of the vote. So I like the policy, man. I'm with any. I personally do like Trump because I'm from New York and I've never seen nothing wrong with Trump. Trump is a fly. I think he's the best president, that we have. But if Trump's policies didn't align with something that lines up with my family and my community, not black people, but that's how I measure myself: family and community. Black is a color that we really aren't. They try to make black the race. Our race. What is our race? They can't even define a race, so they calling us African American. You know, but policy is everything. If the policy works for your family, that's the person you go with. You got to be less emotional about the person. Stop going for that, propaganda on the person, and actually look at their track record.
That's right. That's right. I agree.
We get too emotional. They get us with the emotions, like the Sonia Massey thing, right? For the last
Mm.
4 years, black women have been getting murdered by cops and stuff like that. We hear nothing about it. Now we learning about the Sonia Massey thing, and it's a distraction. It's an open and shut case in my eyes. You got a deranged ass cop that was put on the force, but with a favor from his girl's father, like, so he was hooked up. I think he was mentally ill. It looks like a case of murder in my eyes. I don't give a fuck if you're on the left or right. Right is right and wrong is wrong. You know, but you can't say that that's a reflection of the police department as a stance to say we need to defund the police. You know, that's what the setup is for. The setup is to show black people that we are being hunted down by cops, and you know we need to defund the police. If you defund the police, who gonna take care of grandma? Who gonna take care of the people that's legit? That only works
Yeah,
for
and
her.
Trump don't have the power to defund the police, and so you guys you know he says I don't know. Wait a minute, I'm sorry, I said Trump. God, Cam Kamala and all these they can't defund the
Kamala.
police. All right, what'd you say, Kamala?
Kamala. They be violating them.
They be
They
mad
call it
about me
Kamala.
pronouncing her name. What the hell?
This
Kamala.
thing is Harris.
C-U-M.
Kamala,
They call
Kamala.
all
Sorry
the
about
men
that. Sorry.
presidents by
Let me
their
bring y'all
last
in. Let me
name.
bring y'all in.
Yeah, because they call all the men presidents by their last name. Why can't we just call her Harris?
Harris. There you go, Harris. Okay.
Because everybody get her name messed up anyway. So you know what? I
I
just
ain't
say
about to
her
mess up her
Harris.
name because they're gonna be like, "Oh, MU." No, no, no. I ain't trying to do that. All right.
No, because
I was in the middle
I
of
mean,
grabbing
as a
something.
woman, I would want if I was running, I would want to be called. You know, if you in that position with men, you know, you got to treat her like a man too.
Is she?
Yeah,
Is she? She's
I'm not trying to
Indian.
mispronounce anybody's name. Let's move on from that. But
No,
as
that's
far
why I
as
say Harris too, because everybody has a different way they say it.
Y'all know she's Indian, right?
Yeah,
Like
but
what?
what does that have to do with her
Yeah.
being a
no,
woman?
I said it, it's Kamala. What are you
Now
guys
look,
saying? It's
the
not
thing
Kamala.
is, but with the reason it has nothing to
Whatever.
do with her being a woman.
Okay, well,
Because
that's the
I
way
met
I look at it. I don't look at people's color because
I
I
don't
am
look at
like the
color.
melting
Yeah.
pot of America. So,
well,
you know, this is men versus women now.
the pivot is this. This is what it is, right? The pivot is that they don't put they don't put her sexuality up. I mean, excuse me, they don't put her gender up. They put up.
No, they want to just call her black or something. But, you know, they said that about Obama. But his
They,
mom was white, just like mine.
they want to
Mhm.
His
spotlight.
father was so called black, just like mine.
They spotlight her color. If you ask me, I feel like if it was a woman, I feel like Hillary was way more exciting. Hillary was Democrat, but
Yeah.
she did much more to make me feel a little bit safer with her as a candidate
Then
against the
Kamala.
Republican. Yeah, she
Hmm.
just not Kamala. We have not heard anything. We heard
Kamala.
more about Michelle Obama in the last 4 years than we heard from Kamala.
Hmm.
And on top of that, she wasn't slated to be the person running against Trump. It was Biden. When Trump got shot, his ratings flew up. Right.
You
Next thing
really
you
need
know,
that. I think he needs to step down now. I have a grandmother that just passed a year ago with
No, 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 no,
dementia,
no.
and this
Lexus.
ain't right. This is elder abuse. What they doing to that
Lexus,
man?
I
Jill know
can't.
better. Jill know better.
Lexus, he can't step down now because that will put her as president.
I know. I'm saying what they're doing to that man is elder abuse. Point blank. Like if we gonna be real, this is elder abuse we're watching.
Mm.
You want
But
grandpa out there acting like that?
well,
And
what you know so weird is that no matter how much we like them or dislike them, the other countries, our enemies can see. If we can see, if any one of us can see that he's weak, everybody that's on the
thank
opposite
you.
side is going to see
Thank
that.
you.
And you,
that's a fact. My friends say that all the
And
time
you
over
know,
the. Hmm.
some people do know MU knows, you know, I ain't for either one of them. So I'll sit here, you know what I
It's
mean? I
like
just
I know
educate
how
myself
Alexis
on
feel.
both parties because I'm like, it's all a hot mess. Who's
well,
the
I
listen,
brain?
know.
I
I,
Who's the
like.
brain?
Mhm.
Because you got two wings of a bird, but who's really in charge?
mm,
Because
It's
they
I,
it's
all
the
eat at
new
the same
None
professor.
of them.
steakhouse after they
Mhm.
get done at work. You know what I'm saying? They all at the same steakhouse
that's why.
Yeah.
That's
enjoying
why.
each
That's
other.
why. That's why you got to look at the policy and not the person. You have to
Uh-huh.
Exactly. Thank you.
You
minus.
gotta you gotta do more research on it instead of just going off for like what's been told and then this and this and that. But I can actually say Trump has been consistent. People don't like what he has to say, but at least he's honest. You know what you're getting. And he also was helping people get more money than what
Bingo.
people realize it. And not just for the poor, not just for the rich or anything. He was doing it for, America instead of sending out money that America don't have to other countries, like that Biden person, whatever, but Biden is pretty much he's selling people a dream telling people what they want to hear. But if you read in between the lines of what he's saying, he's really the true racist if people want to look at it like that.
I
Well, you know
think
what?
that's
He has a history
interesting,
of
Rico, is that people don't want to talk. Now, Biden's no longer running, but he did
Mhm.
endorse, oh, God,
Kamala.
And
Kamala.
Megan Thee Stallion even gave money to Kamala. After what she done did, lied and touring. That's
She
suspicious
she
too.
was twerking
I
on
still think it's
Kamala's stage the other day. She
Hmm.
was up there
Yeah.
twerking,
Kamala. Yeah, am I saying
embarrassing.
her name wrong? Okay, for Harris,
Oh, you could
I
say it wrong. She ain't
no,
nobody.
no, no, I don't want to. No, because I try to.
I think we
Unlike,
all saying it wrong. I
I
think we
think it's
all.
Oh,
Kamala. I
it's
think it's
Kamala.
Kamala. No, I
Kamala.
don't think it's
I call it
Kamala. I think
Kamala.
it's Kamala.
Just say
You guys in the
Harris. I'm
chat, who's
telling
saying
you.
it right? You guys in the chat, can y'all please say which one of us is saying it
I just
correctly? Because
call
I
her
think
Cum
it's
for short.
Kamala.
I call it
I
Kamala.
just say Harris because
Okay, let
I
me
ain't
say
gonna
this.
sit here and
Let me,
debate people's names.
Or I could
I'm
call her
gonna agree with
something else.
Joseph Benjamin, who said, "Forget Biden, he's gone." Because now
We can't. He's
now
still the
how
president.
strongly I do think there's something propaganda. They want you to feel that Harris is killing it in the polls. She's not. That's a lie.
Mm-mm.
When
Thank
Trump
Mm-mm.
you.
has his rally, they don't even show how many supporters he has. Trump is right when he's like, turn the cameras around. I have a lot of support. But the media, Maverick, is Kamala. The media, but where's the emphasis? Means isn't it on the first part?
Cum. Just say cum. Just call it cum.
The media wants to portray it like he's losing because they're trying to persuade the American people that this is the way to vote. And they don't need to do all that. She's not winning in the polls. Did she
Mm-mm.
win a
Thank
record
you.
amount? Did she earn a record amount of money and funds for her campaign? Absolutely. But people are banking on her, and they're using their
Mute.
hatred for Trump and their ignorance. But at the end of the day, Trump is winning. Trump
Mhm.
has the strongest standards and the strongest morals, and he's trying to put things back to where they should be. So
Yeah.
that's why he talks about making America great again. He wants to make America great. He really didn't need the again. He just wants to make America great.
They
Hmm.
said they found out 30,000 vouchers of donations to Kamala Harris were false. That they basically just broke this shit open yesterday.
Hmm. And I
Her
could tell you.
her that money was given to her by specific people in
Hmm.
increments of $5 each. They got a record of 30,000 ghost donators, right? Now that
Hmm.
goes into the whole election thing too. We talking about numbers. That plays into immigration too. Numbers.
Hmm.
Again, why does it and people say, well, black people think, how does this affect me? Well, over here in Ohio, there's a neighborhood called Lockland, right? And they have
Hmm.
we could obviously talk about what's going on in California, Detroit, Chicago, and New York. New York, the worst. But I'm telling you
Yeah.
about how it affects a small town, black neighborhood called Lockland. This is actually one of the last
I
middle
lived in Cleveland before. I don't know
and
how
this
far.
this is a beautiful area where a lot of so-called middle class black people, professional people. What they did was they just dumped 10,000 immigrants over there, right? What
Hmm.
they do is they put them in they put them in our hoods where there's a big concentration of black people. They
Real
give in
quick though, is Ohio Democrat or Republican?
swing.
Uh,
It's a swing state. It's
It's
swing.
swing. Okay,
yeah.
because I know Indiana is. I'm in Indiana and I'm waiting for them, but
Yeah, I'm in
Indiana's
California. We vote Democrat here.
I'm right here in Naptown, USA, born and raised. So
And New
Indiana.
York, and New
My
York
that
is
was my
Democrat here.
Yeah, that was my first rally was in Indiana, and people who say that Indiana again the race thing. Before I tell you about this immigration, they try to pump the racism. That's what it is. In Indiana, they say the Ku Klux Klan was made down there. My first rally was in Indiana. I've worked in Indiana for years. It's nothing but love out there, And I'm not
yeah, there's
Hmm.
a few towns I wouldn't go to at night.
now,
And then they even
I
Right,
say
mean,
California is
Cleveland.
on your way to
oh my
Bloomington at
gosh.
night? No, 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 no.
I'm not
They
saying
even
it
say
doesn't
Cleveland
exist.
too.
I'm not saying
But
it doesn't exist.
hmm.
I'm saying that it's not the top 10 thing that you think about. As a black
Yeah.
man, I'm telling you, racism don't enter my household because it's not stopping me from doing anything. It's if
Whoa, no,
anything,
no, yeah, yeah, no,
the fact
yeah.
that I'm black, it opens up the door for me to do more these days because
Hmm.
it's tradition. I mean, it's trendy to do black, right? But
Yeah, I
when
mean,
they dump these 10,000, 20,000 people in your neighborhood, whatever company, like over here, the company is Duke, and then they have a big produce market, right, where they hire about 5,000 people. They
So that
give
makes sense. Yeah.
they give these corporations a bunch of money to hire immigrants at lower cost. So if the regular black person, white person, American that might not work for less than $20, what they do is they give the immigrants under the program $12, and the company takes the other $8. It's like Section 8 for jobs. Now,
yeah,
and all you
but
Hmm.
have
they've
to
been
do,
doing that forever, though. I mean, I
no,
Yeah.
remember my
no,
grandpa's arguing about this in the 90s.
no, but it's worse now because yesterday, I'm telling you, they just found a girl. It's going viral. They found
Hmm.
a Venezuelan girl. She left her receipt, her food stamp receipt. Bitch had $14,000. Excuse my language. $14,000 in stamps.
Yeah,
$5,600 in cash. So
yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
it
No,
existed.
I
It
keep
wasn't.
telling, I don't. I keep saying I'm about to cross the border so I can get one of these damn cards because my mortgage just went up $200 this
Now,
past month.
now
Oh,
this
you
is
need
what it
help?
is. Now,
You need help doing
when you vote
that?
liberal is
You coming
for
with me, Rico?
I got you.
And you pick
liberal.
us up at the border, please.
You
They
know
want
my
to keep it.
my
Girl,
dad's side of the family is a Lego.
They
He's in
want to keep
the
them
mid.
borders
Hmm.
open, right? So those people that's coming in, they say they can't vote. Yes, they could. They could turn into votes real easily. And the next year, with
Hmm.
Kamala in place, those million people will turn into a million votes for them. But more
My
importantly,
biggest thing is
Hmm.
the children because they have these kids working, in plants and things. I've done a lot of research on
Oh.
immigration for
Hmm.
12 years.
and
And, what adults they do to the adults is what they do to the adults. But what they're doing to these children is not right.
Mm-mm.
It's horrible.
And
well,
bringing
listen,
up children too. You guys
they,
know that the Democratic Party is behind what fill in the blank. Ito Ia
Yeah.
and last word.
Hmm.
they
Yeah.
not doing
And
shit
pe-
to these kids. Them kids is living better than our kids. Let me tell you something.
Not when they're working in our food processing plants getting burned because they're cleaning them and then have to go to school the next day. They're not in Colorado.
Well, we talk about the new influx of immigrants that's coming in. They're
I'm
coming in.
talking about the children that don't have parents coming in.
yeah. And then
What
with
do you
these
think they're
immigrants coming
doing
in.
to them? You have a people whistleblowing about them sending them to work for elites,
Mhm.
like as their cleaner, as their babysitter, and things. That's what I'm saying. You got to really research some
Do
stuff
your
because
research.
what
Hold
they're
on.
Yeah.
doing to these kids that don't have parents and how they're getting here, which I can't even talk about because I'm trying to get
Oh.
killed.
Hmm.
Because I know some stuff.
I know some stuff too. I could say this too. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
go
we
into
can't be
details.
talking about all this stuff. I'm trying to have motherfuckers come try to shoot me in my ear.
But Biden, he's been flying over illegal immigrants, is what people do not know. But
There's
not
a
just
whole
families.
app
He
to do it. A whole
uh
app
it's
they can
just
get on
men.
to do it.
Folklore,
Yeah.
folklore. Let me say this: immigrants can't vote. Now with Kamala, they will be able to vote. Okay, and that's a fact.
They
That's
can if
why
they
Trump.
have fake
That's
social
why.
security numbers and information to vote.
That's why Trump is saying that you're going to need ID to vote. You need ID for
Mm-mm.
every other fucking thing. You can't even get in a club without an ID. So
Mm-mm.
what's wrong with having an ID to vote? That's the only
Yeah.
way you're
I
going to say that then we're not getting their
Now,
vote.
what states are allowing them not to have an ID to vote? Because I know Indiana, you have to show proof of ID to vote.
they
That's
passed.
a
There's
state
a
thing to
state,
me.
Alexis. There's a state that's not, and I don't. I hate using my phone because I can't pull it up.
No,
That's
that's what I'm
Uh,
not.
saying. So that has to
Hold
be
on. Let me
state
finish my
law.
thought. Let me finish my thought. There's a They are making it so you don't have to vote, and so that I mean, so you don't have to
Not
have an
Indiana,
ID.
you have to have
I
your
get
ID.
Indiana. I get Indiana. Let me finish
No,
my
that's
thought.
what I'm saying, but we're acting like this is a federal thing. That is state.
No, it's state by state, but we have to remember
Yes,
that the
that's what I'm
state.
saying. So we can't
Hold
put
on,
that
let me
on
finish
Trump
my
or
thought.
Harris.
mm-mm.
We have to remember that the state enforces the law. So when we're thinking about federal and state laws, we have to remember that there's laws to where the federal government can't interfere with state law. So that's why it's really important to vote for your local representatives. But you have to look at these states that's now saying, hey, and I want to say Arizona, but I don't want to misquote. I don't want to misquote without
Yeah.
looking it up. But
Uh-huh.
they're allowing people to vote without an ID, and you have
Thank you.
to ask yourself why. Joseph said,
Mm-hmm.
breathe. You have to ask yourself why. And this is all why. So they could try to rig this election, try to pad, not pad, pad the Democratic vote, right? To have all these illegal people, all these people vote for the Democratic Party instead of just doing it the right way. We don't want all these people that don't have the American people in mind. We don't want all these people to vote. You need to have an ID, a driver's license. You need to be here. We need to know who you are. You need to. That's what we need to do, and that doesn't need to change. But it is changing, and it's changing for people to vote primarily Democrat. And I just say, why can't the
Democrat.
Democratic Party stand on its own instead of using all of these tactics to try to
Hmm.
rig the election?
Yeah, they're the ones oppressing the people.
It's all about, okay, let everybody cross the border. Why? So think about this. Let everybody cross, because again, I live in California where you can cross and the border patrol stands there and do nothing.
There you
And
go.
now let them vote. Sorry, Alexis, I
Hmm.
don't know what happened.
And,
Let them
and that's
vote.
that's what happens though, Mu. That what happens is, yeah, they can't. They're not supposed to, but somehow it happens. To me,
Is
that's
the
the least of my worries, though, Rico. It's like when I
Mhm.
look at New
Folklore,
York.
you're wrong. You're
Oh, I'm
so
in New
wrong
York. Yeah.
because they're trying
Hmm.
to change that. And so you're just, I feel like folklore, you just want to say something. And I don't understand it because research is free and it doesn't take much to do.
There you go.
So while you're just being that combative, number one, I should tell you guys, and I should have told, this is a right wing safe space. I go to every other place where they're pulling all these left wing ideologies out and all this and that. That's not the space. So I should probably have said that going in. I am
Oh,
definitely for right wing values, and this is why, because you want to say stuff like that. So you want to you just want to argue like, oh, this isn't the case, that isn't the
Hmm.
case.
Just pay them dust.
But
They're trying
and
to
I
this
see.
is a
distract us.
space for us to be able to speak and not be attacked by left wing ideology.
There you go.
Hey,
Hmm.
YouTube streets.
Because
So I just
you're
thought I would
killing the
throw that out there.
conversation when you kill a conversation. The conversation is not able to happen when you get too wrapped up into your emotions, and that's why I
Kid,
say
you get
take it personal.
distracted.
Yeah, we can't get nowhere, and we can't even actually understand what the policy is because it's like, yo, you know what's so crazy? Let me give you something, Mu. When I first like maybe about 8 years ago, when I first got on social media, right, and I started telling people that I'm a conservative. I wasn't necessarily saying I was a Republican at this point, right?
Hmm.
But I was leaning towards conservative. People in my family would get so mad at me. You know what I mean? Like they would just like attack me. I'm talking about people I got love for, and like, yo,
Hmm.
I would literally kill for you. Why you treat me different overnight? To be you like
See,
people call you Uncle Tom, not realizing.
and that's the slave mentality right there, having that type of mindset, conservative and then get all, and get panties in.
Let me address
You
somebody in
would
the chat. You guys follow
yo
along
get
with the
your ass
chat.
there on the panel. Stop typing so much in the chat, man. You got something to say.
Let me address this. But I'm not gonna pay too much attention to what this person is saying in the chat because I feel that this is an important conversation. But let's look at some ideas. So we cannot say that the past does not matter when we're talking politics. Do we all agree on that?
Hmm.
I,
I
yeah,
got
the
down,
past
but MU
doesn't
and I
matter.
are like sisters. Oh, Alexis, no, Alexis and I are close, close.
Hmm.
So I don't. She's in the chat. I don't have to worry about it. She come out the chat. So let me say this. Let's go through some things during the and you guys cut me off when you don't agree. So we're gonna talk about the Republican Party and the Democratic Party in particular. We're gonna look at the history, and you cannot start from today. The Reconstruction era was a time when blacks were strong in office, and you can and blacks held office until until the Democratic Party threw them out.
That's ow, ow.
Am I wrong? Okay, let me just go through this.
Oh, you're
So the
correct.
Civil Rights Act of 19. Okay, so we have the 14th Amendment, we have the 15th
Ow.
Amendment, we have the. I don't need to go through this again, but the Democratic Party had a reason. So they want the black vote, but they really don't want us to have any representation in office, and they really don't want us to be independently wealthy. And we can see that from Black Wall Street. We can see that from the we can see that from just look at just look at the way that they work so hard to keep us dependent on the government. And so far, what I'm hearing from the Democratic Party is all these government programming and stuff like that, but they still want us to be dependent on something. And
Hmm.
they have made laws to keep blacks in line. So as long as
Yeah.
we're not too much independent, as long as we're not on our own completely, we're fine. So when I'm telling you guys that they've passed laws, and there's ways that they're systematically trying to oppress black people within the
Hmm.
Democratic Party, but during each election they make all these promises and they try to demonize the Republican Party and take away the advances that the Republican Party has made. As far as civil rights go, and I'm not just talking about blacks, I'm talking about whites were very active in the civil rights movement and helping to pass these laws.
Hmm.
They're the ones, like I said, that put black men in office, gave black men the right to vote before any white woman could vote because they believed in us being a part of the process. Okay. And we were
Yeah.
lied to. When the federal troops left the South, we were lied to. So to keep trying to praise this Democratic Party election after election, I feel is insane. We were stronger as Republicans, and we are stronger with the least amount of government involvement in our lives. So
Hmm.
those are my conservative values. So I'm not sure how anybody can dispute that.
Okay.
That's all I'm
That part.
saying. So did I say anything that was wrong there anywhere? So I'm
Mm-mm.
not sure. Folklore. Yeah, you've already been canceled. You were canceled from the time you started this conversation, but I'll let you entertain yourself. I really don't understand this whole. Okay, I'm just gonna be Democrat just because. Okay, well that's your right, but don't you dare try to paint one party as innocent with their racist history and their racist background. You're
Thank
not
you.
gonna do that. I'm not gonna allow you to do that because you're absolutely wrong. You want to look over everything else. When we were given the right to vote, the Democratic Party was like, okay, well, when one thing didn't work, okay, the grandfather clause didn't work, so let's do literacy tests, let's do poll taxes, anything. So they'll use the law to still oppress black people.
Exactly. And then tell them what black people want to hear. Like they're gonna do this, do that, and they haven't done nothing. And they are signing bills that people
And
do not even know
they're
every
signing
day.
bills, but I like to be really specific. There were certain things, and what I find interesting, again, they spoke about the black journalists,
Hmm.
the Commission for Black Journalists, and that lady quoted Johnson and asked Trump, did he do more for blacks than this Democrat president? Let me tell you something. They're the ones that made laws after the Republican president gave us the right to vote and ratified that the 15th Amendment in 1870. So yes, they
Exactly.
should have come up with something because after that we had to fight poll taxes and literacy tests and grandfather clauses and the Klan from the
Hmm.
Democratic Party. So how dare the black journalist as she's attacking Trump with her rhetoric and we
Can I,
all seen it.
can I
So
say
how dare
something?
she come and quote him and skip Ulysses S. Grant. And this is what I'm talking about when we don't know our history. And everybody
Hmm.
wants to talk about these journalists. She was aggressive and to try to downplay who try to downplay the civil rights movement and the Reconstruction era and all the progress that has been made and be like, you know what, the Democratic Party did it is false. It's
That
She,
false.
part.
that woman, first and foremost, to addressing an ex-president, no matter whether you like him or not, no matter his color or anything, just judging him by policy and leadership alone, right? I think that she should have had a little bit more respect for him, and when he pulled up. Number one, he wasn't scheduled to be there. Number two, he was thinking that he was told that Biden and Kamala would be there, and he would be speaking to them, right? And three, he had a rally set up for, right after that. So he didn't even have to be there. But I want to address something by Beans and Cornbread said. Uh, they devised schemes such as requiring that people present ID at the polls. They utilized gerrymandering to skew the votes and they use fear tactics such as police presence in polling
I
stations.
forgot about gerrymandering, but that's absolutely correct.
No,
And the purpose, and
gerrymandering works on both sides.
I have
Yeah.
seen it all. And you got, so you guys, when I speak about the 15th Amendment was the last of the Reconstruction amendments, right? That was the last of it. And again, that was in 1870. It was ratified to include, black men, no matter what their beliefs were, to hold office. It was a very strong period, and unfortunately, when it ended in 1877, you've seen everything else. So the Republicans led the change to elect black politicians and to include us. They're the ones that led that, and we can't take that away.
Hmm. And then I got another thing to say too. Like when Trump first went into office, I met him.
You
Me, my
know.
mother, and my
Oh, I'm
sister.
sorry. You met Trump?
Yeah, me, my mother,
Oh,
and
okay,
my
Matt.
sister.
Let
And
me
we
put you over
still
here,
got
Matt.
them posters too where they had signed it too. And then like, from, interacting with him, he is not like that at all.
Ooh, folklore. I'm
Like
gonna ask you to stop putting ignorance in this chat. You can do that somewhere
just
else,
just
but we
block
don't
him.
even tolerate that here. And I swear, you're. I'm tired of reading it
Mm,
because what falsehood? So you're just saying things because you're trying to appeal to emotions, and I can't with you. So I'm
mm,
tired of reading it. I just am. Because those amendments, I don't need to quote a source. I don't need how much I'm saying. I don't need to cite a source for it. Those are the amendments. So if you
mm.
can't even follow that, we're not on the same level, and I can't help you. So I'm gonna ask you to please refrain from putting your ignorance in my chat. That's where we are. Let me tell you guys this. So again, like I said, at the 15th Amendment was the last of the Reconstruction amendments, where the right to vote for black men was given in 1870, right? And that's a fact. There's nothing to argue about. Southern blacks were majority in the southern states, and they held 15% of office. We were strong then, and it changed. And unfortunately, we see the results of all those things. But the Republican Party led the way, and they
Hmm.
believed in change.
Yeah.
All right, and it was just a lot. And so there's really nothing to deny there. There's nothing for me to quote. I'm quoting the
Hmm.
amendment. So if you don't know the amendment and the Constitution, you can
And
blame your history teacher, but don't blame MU. That's all I'm saying.
okay, that part. And they
Try to
can do
take
the
it out on
research
me. And
themselves.
let me say this. There's something I forgot as we were talking. I just thought about it.
Hmm.
But during the Reconstruction era, during this era, the if you had a background with white supremacy, you were not allowed to serve in Congress. So former Confederates were not allowed to serve in Congress. They were
Oh,
not
and then
allowed
I
to serve.
then I
So,
got a
and that's
question
something else
too.
that we're forgetting. That all changed with the Democratic Party. But during this era, white supremacy couldn't serve in Congress.
Mm-mm.
Okay? No, Pizarro, I figured out how to stream better from my phone. Wait, Joseph is trying to come up. I don't know how to use a banner, Joseph. So when I bring you up, can you speak immediately? And I'm going to pray that you're a real person. Okay, I'm going to bring you up. Hey,
I'm a real
Joseph.
person. Hey, how's it going,
Okay,
India?
okay. It's
Salute,
going
Joseph.
well. What's
Hey,
good,
what's going on
Pizarro?
with
And
y'all?
I did make a comment about your welcome. I'm welcome for what, Pizarro? Go ahead, Joseph. I'm going to go on mute.
No, I was just listening.
Okay, so when I have somebody like the person in the chat, oh, I'm not looking at my chat. Who was I yelling at a few minutes ago? Darn it.
Uh,
Yeah, I know who I was
just
talking.
Folklore.
Oh,
just
folklore,
call just
folklore.
call my nobody.
So
I say let them
I
breathe.
don't like these emotional people that come here and they're like, you need to quote this and you need to quote that. I don't need to do a damn thing. That's history.
Hmm.
Look it up. If you don't know anything about the Reconstruction era, if you don't know when blacks served in Congress, and you don't know who passed what law, don't argue with me based on my years of study, of my decades of participating. Don't argue with me because I cannot school you in a few minutes. I am telling you something, and it's up to you to look it up. It's up to you. It's not my job to try to take away your years of ignorance. But what I can do is tell you, like, wait a minute, we've been lied to all these years. We've been
Uh-huh.
lied to.
Yeah.
So here are the lies, and this party stood for us. And yes, there's racism and there's problems in both parties, but within a party, you have to be able to navigate. You have to be able to. I'm for the party that I can become wealthier, that I can be independently wealthier on, and that is not a government program. That's not government assistance. It's nothing like that. We have got to be able to govern ourselves and participate in the democratic process.
Mm-hmm.
And for
It's
that, you need whites in the Democrat. I mean, I'm sorry. Sorry, white people. You need
oh.
blacks on both sides, but to try to demonize the Republican Party means that we have truly lost our way and we've bought into the lie that Democrats have sold us.
Mm-hmm.
Because
And
they
that
never talk,
bias
they
was
don't want to
keeping
talk
people
about their
divided.
racist background. No, it's not MU. What's not, Alexis? They don't want to talk about, they want to skip over and talk all these things about Trump. But when I bring up something like the three strikes, you're out, mandatory minimums. Oh, let's not talk about that. But remember when Trump said this? I'm talking about policies, not attacking these people. I'm talking about the policies that were passed, the laws that were passed to oppress our people. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Not this little nitpicking
One color.
stuff.
Yeah. Not just attacking one person or one particular race. It's talking to everybody.
That's what I'm talking about. So you guys, in this wanting me to quote all this stuff, like I don't need to, because what I
You don't
said
have
was
to.
stuff
Mm-mm.
that are landmarks in history that's not going to go away. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't know these things because as the years go by and our history is watered down, we get further and further away from the truth.
Hmm. Especially listening to like, not saying not listen to like some elders, but I'm saying listen to other elders, the other than the ones that preach that same thing and have it, stuck in their head or trained in their thought. That process. No.
But I can tell you this, Rico, and Joseph, I do appreciate the fact that we can have these conversations
Hmm.
because I do feel that's important. And for me,
I love these conversations, like for real, because I love politics in general, and I love a conversation like this as well, where like you don't necessarily have to agree with somebody, and you don't necessarily just have to just disagree. You can
you
just put two and two together, and if they do their research, they would figure out the
put two and
answer.
two together. And not only revisionist, oh, damn, he used a fancy word. Hey, Jay Cannon, somebody help me
Revisionist
out.
history.
Okay,
Yeah,
that part.
that revisionist history is dangerous. That's right. That's right, Jay Cannon. Even though I can't really pronounce that, I knew exactly what you meant.
I hope I pronounced it right. I think I did.
Yeah, but it is
Is
really
it?
dangerous. And like I said,
Hmm.
I don't just go, oh, because this person is Republican. I agree. I talked about DeSantis. I'm like, wait a minute, what you
Hmm.
talking about, fool? We're not trying to talk about slavery in that kind of way, like the slaves.
Yeah.
No, but as a whole, I have to stand with the Republican Party.
Hmm.
And whew,
So, so Emmy, when you say that, I was just thinking about that because it took me back to Abraham Lincoln. And I think he was kind of like one of the first. I think he was the first elected Republican, if I'm not mistaken, or one of the first. And I just remember a quote that he said um, during the time when he was attempting to free the slaves, having that level of compassion to do so, but also having a meeting with black delegates or black leaders at the time, I think, including Frederick Douglass. And he said, and I quote, "Your race suffers from living among us, while
Hmm.
ours suffer from your presence. It is better for us both, therefore, to be separated." So
mhm.
I think that that sentiment from the conservatives and the Republicans in general has carried forth even to this day. Where you spoke about DeSantis, how he's throwing the baby out with the bathwater. He doesn't want any real Black history being taught in the public schools, and that will come up as racist. But yet, it's interesting because as Black people, I found that I get along better with conservatives, but it's not like 100%. It's kind of like with
Well,
Democrats, it's kind of like 20,
Joseph, I need to
20%.
ask you, how do you identify? I don't know if
How
you're
do
the
I
one.
identify?
Yeah.
Mostly conservative. I would say 75, 80% conservative.
Oh no, you're a rhino. Okay, that
No, I'm not. How
Uh-oh.
so?
you're a rhino.
Okay, I get it.
Let me say this. You were right about Lincoln. Lincoln had to Lincoln because Lincoln during when was Lincoln president? 1860. Am I right, you guys? 1860.
No, you're
So
about
he
right.
would be
Yeah.
Lincoln
Yeah.
is the first Republican president because remember the Civil War ended in was it 1865. So he would have had to been the first Republican president, right? He's Lincoln. Our Lincoln's our
Yeah.
first
So he
And then
president.
was.
and then check this out too. Not to just
That's our first
change it
Republican.
completely, but there was a first black president way before Washington.
Yeah, well, we're forgetting about Jefferson and his history. That's a
That's a
subject.
different.
But,
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
I want you to address the rhino issue. Hold on. How am I a rhino? I mean, I'm just curious.
you're rhino because but listen. I don't want to attack. I was just curious because the reason I'm asking is because I just like to know who I'm talking to. Lincoln was elected, but he wasn't. He was elected in 1858. I conjure a rhino because I don't want to get hung up on that word, Joseph. It's okay.
No, I mean that's like no. I mean, I don't think if you. It's kind of like you make a or allegation or charge. I'm not offended by it personally, just so you know. But then I just think that to say it is kind of like I'm curious as to why you
I'll
think
tell you
that's the
why.
case based off just one statement I made.
Okay, I'll tell you why. Pizarro, okay, I understand. Maybe you take a rain check on that one because I'll be definitely visiting this again. You said that when I asked you which one you identified as, you said, I'm mostly Republican. I,
Conservative.
and I, haven't we had a conversation before?
Yeah, we have.
Okay,
Yeah, we
so
have.
that's why I just thought to ask.
I
Don't
would be
hold
more
that.
concerned about how you're 100% of anything because if you don't leave any room for it would almost be like you're the mirror opposite of the staunch liberals
The
that
reason
you
why I
despise.
could say a
That I
hundred
don't think
percent
that's healthy.
the reason why I think it is healthy because it does matter which party you belong to because the amount of government involvement in our life it's the conservative values.
Hmm.
So there's some people that I do call a rhino Republican in name only because they don't stand hard for Republican values and that's okay. I was just asking. I was just
But that's
asking because
interesting.
I like to know a
Mhm.
person's background when I'm having that conversation with them.
But someone who is completely conservative, those people typically identify as pull yourself up by your bootstraps. There shouldn't be any government intervention at all in regards to, say, for example, Social Security, which I think actually has benefited people who needed it the most. That there should be very little, if any, social nets. I don't think that's a good thing. But I don't think it should be overbearing in the sense that everyone is getting given handouts and given money and given EBT and stamps and all this other stuff that disables them from pursuing their own independent life. So it's it's kind of like a balance to it. So one, you can tip over to one side where you're cutting people at the knees. People aren't able to eat, aren't able to feed themselves, and they're dying from starvation or thirst as they used to before FDR put those safety nets into place. But then you have the opposite end where they go too far over and they're causing people to basically rely or suck on their suck on the breast of the government because that's all they've ever known and they don't know how
Hmm.
to move on their own. So
Hmm.
it's to be 100% on either side, which I am not. Like I said, I'm more so 80% conservative, 20% liberal because I
It's
understand
okay.
some of the policies.
You don't
But
even
it's
have to
kind of
defend it. It's
it's similar
similar
to
to just being confused, but you don't
I'm
really have to
confused.
defend it because the positions of the Republican Party is like and it's changed over time. I'm not going to say it's the same Republican Party as when in
Everybody's
like the
not the same.
1860s, but we
Hmm.
do believe in lower taxes, gun rights, government conservatism, things like that. Capitalism. That's I could speak all day about capitalism and free trade and things like that. So there's certain things that we believe in. I can't even say pro-life or pro-choice because that kind of depends if you are, your religious backgrounds. But y'all know, besides the blacks, Christians usually vote.
They
Republican.
vote
But when
Democrat.
they vote, no, Christians usually vote Republican for the most part. I'm
Okay.
No,
not
the
saying
Democrat.
all. I'm not saying all, Rico, because there are some that don't.
Mhm.
But
I think the Baptist ones.
when
Black
it comes
Christians
to
vote
blacks,
Democrat.
though, I'm not talking about blacks. The blacks are the
Oh,
ones
yeah.
that, Christian or not, they vote primarily Democrat. And I find it interesting. It's like, how in the world are we always the ones that it just doesn't make sense? No matter what the Democratic Party has done, they still vote Democrat. So when I say that a person is rhino, I just mean because Republicans, you ask a Republican if they're Republican or Democrat, they stand strong on their
Hmm.
gun beliefs and their the things that we hold core. That's not up for like a maybe, or it depends on whose office. We just don't vote if it's not within our, you
In
know,
a
if it doesn't.
circle.
So you're
Since there's
describing a cult essentially,
I'm
because
It's
not
not
to
a
say
describing
that
a
no.
cult. I'm describing what I'm
that's
not.
what you.
How did I describe a cult? I'm not describing a cult because
Okay,
there's
let
some
me explain.
Republicans that have voted for Obama. No, we're not gonna act like that didn't happen.
Hmm.
Okay, so I'm
That's
not
true.
describing a cult. I'm describing when it comes to taxes, we want lower taxes. We want,
Especially in Illinois. Yeah. Hmm. Hmm.
we don't want the government overly involved in our life, and because we want to have control over what happens in our families. That goes with with our medical care and all of that, and a lot of things we don't realize the government wants to be a part of. We're saying no. All the social program and stuff like that is problematic. You do not want,
Hmm.
so all of this, oh, let's get this program and stuff like that. It keeps us stuck, and some people
And
are afraid to
stagnant.
get out of that. People that's getting all this wealth, and I'm not saying there's not extreme circumstances, but all
Hmm.
the welfare and the food stamps and all of that. How many times are people afraid to work because they're afraid to lose their benefits? And you
Uh-huh.
become used to getting this handout instead of the
They
economy being
become
wealthier, so
dependent.
we don't need these kind of things. We become dependent, and I'm not for that. I'm not for this social
Mm-mm.
programming stuff. I'm not for there has to be a different way because it
Yeah.
keeps us stuck. And then instead of generational wealth, we have generational poverty that we pass down
Hmm.
to our children.
Cause like not
I,
saying that it's bad or anything, but people need to use it just for a certain amount of time. It's temporarily, not
But you
that's what
don't
I'm
20.
get
focused
that,
on.
Rico, because they become afraid to get off, and it's controlling how much people
Mhm.
make, having control, because you don't just get welfare. You have to give all this information on your family. You gotta say who's in a household. Let's not
Mhm.
pretend it didn't break up households. So you cannot look for a system that once oppressed you to now save you. So the Democratic Party is not coming to save you. You've
I
got to
call
be
them
able to take
Democrat.
control over your own life and your own finances, and that's not going to happen as long as you're accepting a handout.
Hmm.
I
Is he a
actually
socialist or a capitalist? Jay Cannon, that's a good question. Are you a socialist or a capitalist?
wait. Who's he referring to? Me or Rico?
You.
He's asking me.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay. So I'm a capitalist in the sense that I do well as a day trader. So I strongly believe in capitalism, and the ability to make money in this country in the way that I do. Secondly, to point to what Rico said, in which there are times in which it may be necessary for a person to, like in my case years ago when I needed EBT for maybe
See,
two,
when you
three, four
needed it.
months,
Hmm.
for just a while. But then I took myself off. I understand that there are people who get used to it. They get used to that. I didn't never want to get used to it. That's just the mindset
Hmm.
that I had. So
See.
I can
Uh-huh.
understand MU's point in how someone who gets on it initially may not be able to do what I did and take the initiative and take themselves off of it. I didn't want to be on it because I felt like personally I was embarrassed to stand in line. This time we had an EBT card, stand in line and swipe it. And it's kind of like you're a grown man doing this. But I did it for 2, 3 months when I needed it, and I gave it off, cut it off on purpose. And I figured someone else who may need it more than me, they should have the money because I'm able
Hmm.
bodied. I can go and do my thing. Um,
See,
I know
you
that's
could do
my
your.
mindset, but I can't
Mhm.
speak for everybody else.
I agree with that because you're able to do your own thing. And the thing, what I think about people who just depends on government assistance like that, that's a part of modern day slavery too, because they know
I
everything,
agree.
they controlling everything, they're saying what you can do, and then the way people just be like, oh, I don't want to get a job, I got this going in, that thinking that they free. Really, you is not free at all.
And they would never
That's
be able to do. Oh, go
oh, go
ahead.
ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off, Tristan.
Oh. I was just about to say they would never be able to have there's a certain mindset you have to succeed in any sort of business, or in my case, day
Hmm.
trading. To go to make above and beyond what most people make, you can't. There's only a cap. There's a limit. They say you got to have these conditions. We're going to give you $1,000 a month for this stipend, for this housing. We're going to give you $500 for this EBT or whatever. But let's say, for example, you want to enjoy a nice steak at a restaurant, or you want to enjoy oysters, or you want to have something a little more fancy, or you want to travel. You can't do that because two things: you're financially kept up because you're relying financially on the government, and secondly, mentally, you're incapable of having the creativity, and the ideas, and the ambition to go
I
above and beyond where you're capped at, so you can do the other
Joseph, I'm
things
gonna have to
and
tell
have
you
the
something.
ambitions
I
to do
have to
more.
be honest with you. I don't mean to cut you off, but I don't really like sharing too much with the non-conservative, with the because our ideas are so different.
Hmm.
And
You should get a station head.
I, what I'm gonna do is this.
I'm
Let me
confused.
get ready to end. I'm not putting.
Mhm.
I just feel that I kind of,
I get it.
when I start
Yeah,
my conversation, it's better for you to come up. I don't want to. I I'm so careful because here's my problem.
just
There's not a
offending
lot of
people.
space that Republicans can speak with our right wing ideas. And when it comes to a
Oh,
rhino,
thanks
I
in the
just
back
feel
chat.
that you
Yeah.
guys don't stand strong enough on any particular direction. I just feel that it's kind of like you you don't really because there's things. Okay, let me read this comment here. Let me go. But
Okay.
don't leave. I don't want you to feel offended. I
Oh,
gotta clear myself up.
look in the
Don't
back
leave.
chat. That's where I
Look
be
at the
at.
back chat
Hmm. That's where we be
because
having
y'all know
these
I'm.
conversations at too. A lot.
So
And
you,
like, and it.
Oh, I'm familiar with that, Rico. We can talk about
Hmm.
that behind the scenes. But
Okay.
I'm familiar with him, but I want to ask more about that. Let me say this. I don't want to lose my thought. There was a comment that I wanted to highlight. Oh, this one. Giving these illegals crossing illegally all the benefits, and US taxpayers are paying for that BS. That's why I'm pretty specific on the on Republican versus Democrat, because we
Hmm.
specifically care about the taxes and people crossing the border. And I don't like lukewarm conversations about stuff like that. So that's kind of why I said, wait a minute, remind me of someone that's kind of okay.
no, 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 no. So MU, I don't want you to lump me into the ideology of a conversation you might have had with
Okay.
someone else.
Okay.
But I just want to, let me put it this way. If you, I'm not 100% like you, which I admitted. I'd say I'm
That's
closer to
okay.
about 80%.
That's okay.
I mean, you say it's okay, but at the same time, it sounds like maybe perhaps, and this is okay for too. If you want an echo chamber of those who share 100% of your views, then that's okay too,
I
I guess. I
don't
don't
want
know.
an echo chamber. I want you to be able to speak your mind, and if I'm wrong, just say that. But I find it, and let me clarify. It's nothing against what you believe or stuff like that. And I had Alexis up here. Alexis damn sure
I
don't
love
agree with me
Alexis. Uh-huh.
for the things that I say. And I'm friends with a lot of people in that's Democrat. One of my
Hmm.
moderators was in here telling me I was completely wrong. I don't want that. So I'm sorry if I came across that way. I apologize to you. I guess what I was trying to say is I'm really careful because whenever I go speak in another space
Just out of
and I
respect.
throw
Hmm.
out some ideas, I'm attacked for it. And I just want to make sure that this is a space where we can speak about in a conservative type of way, but I don't want you to feel that you couldn't speak. So okay.
Hmm.
I mean, look,
Um
I'm open to my ideas because
Yeah.
part of me
and I'm not trying
coming
to
on
change your
here and
ideas or
listening.
anybody else's beliefs. I really do
No, no, no.
appreciate this
Actually,
conversation.
I
wanted
agree
to
with
be.
some of his ideals too. So
But
I
I'm
wanted
always
to be
going to be
changed.
a right wing conservative,
mhm,
and I want to make sure that we are heard on
on the
our
same
beliefs,
accord.
because every other space you have all these left wingers and all of that. Y'all can speak anywhere, and I just feel that we're left out of the conversation.
Hmm. It's a
That's what I'm trying
problem
to say.
whenever we speak. Like,
I don't know. I
Rhinos
think that
are
might have
like
been the
mixed
issue
breed
you
people.
had.
They can't really be loyal to one side because they
they're not loyal to
beans and
themselves.
cornbread
Mhm.
you guys, I probably didn't word that right, but that's exactly what I was saying. Rhinos are like mixed breed people. They can't really be
Hmm.
loyal to one side because of their affinity for the other side. And my problem with rhinos and social media is this: a lot of people will just want to click on a view, they want some
Hmm.
commentary, they know that these things are part of their chat, but I'm talking about real life stuff and real life views.
Yeah.
I'm not a rhino at all. These are my conservative views, and I don't care
Hmm.
whose chat I'm in. I have trouble being quiet. And just like Bees
Yeah.
and Cornbread says, I get
Mhm.
attacked all the time. These are my beliefs, and I just want to make sure that that I just know who I'm speaking with. That's all.
Hmm.
But I always get attacked for just look at my chat. I got some lunatic. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to call him a lunatic. I got some person in my chat telling me to cite my source as if he can't look up the amendment himself.
We know
And
who
it's
that
stuff
is.
like that that's so ignorant that I
Hmm.
just it grates my nerves because they're
Hmm.
able to say things from the left wing. A
But
left wingist can
hmm
speak and they don't say cite the source. But the moment I open up my mouth to talk about the Reconstruction era and I gave you guys a timeline of the Republic Party and
they
the
don't want
history
to
with
look it up.
Democrats, no, you know, then it's oh cite this and you're lying and it was the attack. And down to oh MU, you're on drugs. How did you understand all this stuff when you were on drugs? And I'm just like, okay, calm down. At this point, our country is I'm having trouble being quiet. Beans and cornbread, I get cursed out all the time. That's okay. I can handle it. If somebody gives me a link, I'll hit that link. And
Hmm.
not anymore though. Not anymore.
Mm-mm.
Because they want to go dark and start talking about my past,
Other,
my history, and
yeah,
stuff like that.
and
At
that
the
has
end of
nothing
the
to do with,
day, I'm
yeah.
stronger than all these people that try to talk crap about me because they still sitting up in houses that they've never owned or prospered in anything except
Okay.
criticizing each other online and they want to put MU down. Well, I clearly stand for what's best for this country because if nothing else, they want to bring up my past. I overcame my past and here I am today. So how are they going to
Okay.
insult me? Move on.
That part.
At this point, our country is turning into a third world country. It's long overdue for us to get
A
it together,
shithole.
but we are so worried about other countries and they BS. That's right. I've
Hmm.
posted her channel and Pizarro chat to come and subscribe in Mods letting you know I posted her channel and Pizarro. Diamond, thank you. Thank you, Pizarro. Please let them know thank you. And sometimes I get very passionate, but I don't. Joseph,
You
when
don't
you
be
said
angry.
do I want an echo chamber? You're right for calling me out on that. I have trouble explaining myself. I don't like rhinos,
Hmm.
and yeah, I'm quick to boot them from the platform because I don't feel they really stand for anything.
Uh-uh.
Well, I think it's kind of like if you say you don't like rhinos, I don't disagree with that sentiment. I would say that how you use the term rhino is a very it sounds like you broaden what it actually is, in which based on my understanding of what it is, it's far from what I am not. So when you say someone's a
Oh, so you
rhino, it can
elevated
be
from that,
something.
but you still,
I
yeah,
like you as
okay,
a person.
yeah.
I don't dislike you guys, but I
It,
don't feel that we fit into the same category. Now, if I'm speaking to somebody that has democratic values, it's easier for me to talk to them because I know what the Democratic Party stands for, so we can have a conversation. Independent thinkers, okay, I understand. And some people ask why isn't there an independent president? Not understanding how being independent or liberal or whatever, how that's going to benefit the Democrat or the Republican Party. They don't really understand how these other parties come into play. And we're not going to see that. So I can understand where a person defines themselves as something, but when you're lukewarm, I really don't know who I'm talking to. It's easier for me to speak even to a person that doesn't vote.
mm-hmm.
But when a person is a rhino, okay, you clearly said you're not rhino. And so I think, Joseph, what you said was, hey, you know what? If the I understand I'm mostly conservative, but there's some things about the conservative party that I don't like. I can understand that. I'm going to say
Well,
if
it's
you
not.
don't do it. Okay,
It's
Alexis.
not even that there's things that I don't like. It's more so I personally leave 20% of room space for me to potentially be wrong or to adjust my current thoughts and beliefs. So when I say I don't have 100% die breathe and die for the conservative and Republican Party, I don't think anybody should have that kind of mentality because it's dangerous in the sense that
Oh,
um,
Reno, I can't. No, don't say that. I'm talking about the Republican Party so people can be Republican. See, that's what I'm saying. You are my.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Let me go on mute because I'm not trying to interrupt you. I have to
Okay.
mute myself. That's the only way we're gonna get through this conversation. I gotta mute.
But see, that's the 20% I'm speaking about. See, you're 100%, and I can respect that. But me being 20%, I wouldn't do what you just did with me, and that you feel so strong that visceral reaction. to me saying I'm leaving 20% room for me to potentially be wrong or to be corrected in some area. That's a more healthier mindset to have, in my opinion, as opposed to someone who is. It's kind of like, let's use this example, and I think it's one that everyone can relate to. We all know that hardcore Christian who's in church, they know the Bible like the back of their hand, but yet behind closed doors, they're doing all kinds of crazy things, all kinds of wicked stuff. And they're the antichrist in a sense, and you don't
Don't
see
get me
them
started
in
on
church.
that.
And I know Rico probably has seen a lot of that too. So it's similar to
Oh,
that. Like if you don't need that 20,
I think did he
um,
cut out or is it just me? Alexis, okay, I don't,
you
I
hear me?
can't. Well, I'm not. I'm gonna let you use your best judgment for that. As long as it's not, as long as he's not Democrat, you can drop the channel.
mhm.
Let me say this. Alexis, sure. Let me say
But
I agree with you,
mhm.
but the thing that you guys are not realizing,
Go ahead, man.
did I say that I would never vote for a Democrat? So how is that
Mm-mm.
me being 100% with anything? I'm looking at a person's value. I want to know your voting history. I want to
Hmm.
know a
That whole
lot. Now,
background.
I told you
Oh, okay.
guys I don't like. Now, Jay Cannon asked the question. I'm gonna let you guys
Mm.
answer it before I.
Oh, okay.
And
What's
I'm
the
trying to keep it
question?
under three
Let me
hours.
look.
Jay Cannon said, "Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago?"
Is that for you or everybody?
I'm gonna assume it's for anyone that wants to answer it.
Hmm. Okay. I'm gonna just say I'm doing way better. Well, been doing better, but like, yeah.
I think that I'm gonna say no. We're not better off. We see the cost of gas. We see inflation.
Hmm.
I think it's ridiculous. And so here's the thing: it's a loaded question because when I talk about minimum wage and how come on now, McDonald's at $20 an hour out here is insane. Because
Okay.
they also talked about raising a damn Big Mac value meal to $20. I think that we're killing the economy, and
Hmm.
the border is out of control, and the border czar has been silent, which is Kamala. She's been
Hmm.
silent up until now. And anytime you try to ask her about those things, she kind of laughs. She kind of plays it off and
She
stuff like
plays it
that.
off, and people don't know that there was children, like children on them borders getting just fill in the blanks on that part, and they support all of that. That Democratic Party.
What up, y'all?
Like I don't even want to go in, I don't even want to say that because I don't know if they'll take you know, take it down. But I'll put it in the back chat though.
I think anybody that say that we
Alexis, I
do,
don't really know that person. Send me a text with that person's channel, and I mean, I don't really know that person, but I don't know if that's the Pharaoh, that young Pharaoh. Or something. I
Young
don't know who you're
Pharaoh.
talking about. That's the only Pharaoh I know. Because other than that, I don't be. I'm not really one
I
to.
actually spoke with him a couple times on IG.
What's good, Matt?
I think that if people say that we wasn't doing better during Trump's administration, they too caught
They
in their
lying.
emotion. Because I
They
think the
lying.
fact, you gotta be lying. You lying straight up. I mean, it's an obvious lie. Go ask somebody for $50 right now. niggas was
Oh,
in
okay.
niggas was in
You're
the
I put it
right.
in the
super
back chat.
I almost called you Trump. You're right, Matt. I almost called you
the
Trump
niggas
on
was in the
purpose.
supermarket with $1,000 in food stamps and all types of things. You couldn't. Everybody's eating wagyu. You see motherfuckers eating lobsters and all. Like, damn, what the fuck? I know all I eat is wagyu. What the motherfucker? You don't just eat. Now these motherfuckers is eating camel meat. if that, if that. Trust me, and camel meat is expensive. Um, these motherfuckers is eating mayonnaise sandwiches again. You know what I mean? You in the supermarket making life decisions and people acting like that it
Yep.
was the same. Nigga, let me just explain this, right? I used to drive up and down the East Coast, right? Couldn't even find the motherfucking McDonald's open because everybody quit. You know what I'm saying? They was collecting those
Yeah.
checks. Ain't none of these niggas send that money back. Ain't none of these niggas make no blog saying, you know what? I don't want this free money. And then furthermore, that was for the poor people. Let me explain something. Anybody that had a business, I got about $250,000 off of them PPPs legally, right? Now that's small business administration. That's not big business. So when they say that, oh, Trump is only for the rich people, making it rich, nigga, no union was mad. All the unions, they say he's against the unions. All the unions were prospering. Matter of fact, the unions was complaining because they was losing workers because everybody was cashing out saying they had COVID. Come on, man.
Okay.
Motherfuckers had a bad cough, not going back to work. They shut every steak and shake, McDonald's, Burger King. That's not really, but it would be good to go to the bathroom. You couldn't even get to go to the fucking bathroom. That was reality. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? That was reality. As soon as Trump came, Biden came in place, he had motherfuckers that we wanted to get the kids back to school and all that. They had these motherfuckers on computers turning to zombies. Regular people didn't want to go to work. These niggas done turned to fishermen and
Hmm.
campers and you know what I mean. I think the best thing it did was bring people together as far as family, even though the economy was like
And
losing.
Trump, yeah, and Trump even was one of the people that did not support that stick that stick thing. Yo,
Rico, my
if you
friend, you are
That
Republican, right? You Rico,
mhm,
you're Republican, right? We had this conversation.
Republican conservative, yep.
Okay,
Hmm.
okay. Y'all see, Joseph.
me too.
I ask everybody. I know, Mac. I know how you feel.
So
Um,
so am I.
And
Yeah.
no,
I met him his
Joseph.
first
You're
time
not.
too.
You're not. But I can accept because that 20% stuff it's okay. This isn't a cult. It's just I just asked your
Mm-mm.
background. I want to know, Mac. I talk about project 2025. I'm gonna invite you over, but it's gonna be when I get my laptop.
Okay.
She's breaking up.
Over. But go ahead with what you guys were saying. I just
I find it a disrespect to continue using our color as a staple. I find it a disrespect to let people into the country. We're not saying we don't want them here. We want them vetted. We want to know what the fuck we bringing in the country. And then furthermore, we don't want to put. Okay, we grew up with a lot of people that was immigrants. You know what's up with those people? Those people wasn't able to cash out in no kind of way. They didn't even know what was going on. Those people came in the right way too.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Sure.
for people to say that the world was messed up when listen Trump if any other president would have came and listen had to deal with the COVID
on
situation
my end. Oh, there you
they
go.
wouldn't have dealt with it the way Trump did. Trump made the country powerful. Right before Trump, it was like Detroit closed down, industries fucked up in America. You know what he said? Okay, listen, the Chinese is coming up in here, bringing their shit up in here for free. We're gonna put
Yeah.
some taxes on these people.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna make them pay. Now, listen,
Fact.
how much are we getting? Okay, we're gonna take that 50 million and we're gonna put that shit into Detroit. We're gonna take this other 100 million. We're gonna put that in St. Louis. We're gonna open up these old shops. And they saying that they American made is not good. Check this out. With 100% tariffs, America is looking way good. Fuck y'all. You know what I'm
You're
saying?
awesome, dude.
They're not letting us into their country. We can't just fucking go to China
Mm-mm. You
during
gotta learn their language. You gotta go by they procedures. Hold on, let me get this off.
Listen, right now in Bangladesh, the internet is shut down. They in the
Yeah,
street. They in the streets rioting,
and it's
and
happening over here. It's going to.
of course it's going to happen. This is going to be next Venezuela. If we don't put Trump back up in office, trust me when I tell you, with them open borders and all that, next thing you know is going to be gang wars because the gangs and the people in New York is going to, the people in the cities,
Yeah.
big cities, are going to suffer so much that they're going to start targeting them. I'm telling you.
Mhm.
Yeah, you are.
That yeah.
They're going to target them, and that's why they put in incentives in place for big companies to hire them. That this is what's going to cause people to start targeting them, just like they targeting the Arabs and shit like that, and the Africans that's opening up these smoke shops because we said, yeah, let's make weed legal, right? You know what that shit did to the street hustler? Now the regular street dude that was selling weed that might have got a slap on the wrist. Now you got ATF or the weed commission, marijuana commission after the motherfucker because the people that's paying taxes are sicking the police on the streets,
Mhm.
and
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 then
and the ones that's paying the taxes are immigrants.
and
Name
then
one.
yeah.
My bad. We don't got no mom and pop stores no more. We don't have. Our aunts and uncles don't own shit. You know, it's Vietnamese. It's camp.
Jews.
Yeah, Jew. It's a lot.
Jews is already taking over Brooklyn.
Everybody
Like
except for Americans. You know.
it's
I
a
think the issue is that we
I
don't
agree.
really, is that we as black people don't own. So the issue isn't so much, I don't think it's the small businesses, it's that we don't own as black people. the same like the Chinatowns or here in Dearborn, Detroit,
But
with
black
Oh, I
people
think
can
wait,
own
the
it, but yet they
so
don't
we
want to
have
is it
stick
my
together.
sound? Let me go on mute.
That
Huh.
sounds good. That sounds good. But Joseph was talking.
yeah, that was
Hey, Joseph.
it. Is that we don't have a collective like we used to in the days of Tulsa, Greenwood. We used to, but we don't have it anymore. And we haven't been able to get back to those, I guess you call glory days. But everyone else who has come into this country has been able to do it. The Africans, the Muslims, the Chinese, we all know them. The gas
Yeah.
station owners, we know Muhammad down the street. We know who they are, but it's not us. But yet they're in our neighborhoods, and we live in these places, and we go to their beauty salon stores, their beauty shops, their nail salon stores, and it's all owned by Koreans, but it's not us. We're patronizing their stores. But so the issue, I think, isn't so much that we don't have small businesses. I think there are plenty because I see them all over the place. And I live in
Hmm.
Detroit, and that's a big city. Is that we don't I don't see enough of us that looks like us that owns that sort of block of businesses outside of church.
Because
Church
we
is
don't
where
have.
we have the book. But that doesn't produce an income. That takes money from out of the community. It takes money from the parishioners. It doesn't build
Hmm.
businesses, but you have a church on every block. I see it everywhere I go. So we
It's
master that. So
pimping.
it's not that we can't do it. It's that we know how to do it when it comes to I guess putting our hands together and praying, asking for money instead of producing goods and services that provides
Wow.
to the community and that enriches people so they can have jobs within the community. But now you're asking people to give you their money so you can pay the bills on your church building and it's on
Just
every other
begging.
block. It's
I'm
crazy.
fucking.
So
Hey,
we can
you.
do it, but
And
our
I'm
it's
fucking.
priorities are off.
I'm fucking with you, Joseph. I'm fucking with Joseph.
Yeah.
okay. I think
No,
I'm
M, you said
subscribing you
no.
next, by
M,
the
you said
way.
I'm a rhino. M, you said I'm a
Yeah.
rhino. What do I
Right.
know?
Joseph, you know I got my you know how you can
Hey,
handle me. You can
hey,
handle
can I
me.
say something?
Yeah, I can. You cool. I like you, MU.
Joseph, you're right. We not collectively doing things. And I'm gonna tell you something, right? If you look at, again, not to beat dead horse, but New York, there's a neighborhood called Washington Heights, one of the
Yeah.
most prosperous neighborhoods in New York, and it's Dominicans. I remember I used
Monstruo, monstruo, ¿qué lo que?
to, yeah, dime loco, que
Hey,
lo, right? So check it,
Dímelo, dímelo. Yeah.
right? I would go over there to Washington Heights. I lived
Uh,
right across the bridge, and back then,
all right, you in the Bronx?
yeah, in the Bronx, right around
Yo,
on
I'm in
4th.
Riversdale, but I'm from Castro.
Now,
Oh, I
okay, so
think I see a
I went to
class
school in Riverdale.
coming.
Now I went to school up there in Riverdale. I went to Horace Mann,
Ah, okay, okay.
right? So busted. We damn, I lost my train of thought.
Oh,
Forget it. It'll come back to me.
yo, that was ancestors. That was
Are
Oh
you
my
universal
bad.
talking
I'm
about
back.
how
metaphor.
they own, like, do they own the buildings and think, then rent to each other and they can make money that way?
Now I remember it. Right now, I look at it like this. Right, societies are built from communities. Right, communities are built from families. Right.
Hmm.
Um,
hmm
I
hmm
feel like yes, we do have that glitch. We don't have the mom and pop stores. We don't have the land we used to have. We don't have the celebrities collectively getting together because they all at Kamala Harris concert twerking. So we can't get them to come together and say, you know what, let's put this together. Diddy's hiding in Bali with fucking Russell Simmons. But Bill Cosby don't he's on mute. Michael
Yep.
Jackson's on, right?
Oprah Winfrey, she needs to be checked.
Yeah, Oprah Winfrey's just trying to collect her jail checks, right?
I'm on her ass.
To keep us locked in. So I feel like that right there, yeah. This is when we talk about slavery, this is where we have to attack it at, right? We have to
Hmm.
attack that. Like what Emu was saying earlier about knowing the history. I feel like I was against them. I was against Republicans for a long time because I was under the impression that they had us enslaved. They was the reason why everything was fucked up, and I didn't do my homework. So when you study your history, then I think that's where
Hmm.
we correct racism and we correct that issue of us not having. We bring it. We start small and then we get it together. Like I said, the communities turn into societies, and I feel like right now we're in the process of that building communities,
Yeah.
especially with the internet. Like I do farming. I brought a lot of people into the game with gardening and stuff like that, and it sparked something with other people of my color. I'm not really into the color thing more than I'm into our neighborhoods because I feel like what disparages our neighborhood affects all of us, and it's not just black people. And us black people standing on that, waiting for somebody to give us something, is a
Exactly.
fucking yes, it's hurting us.
It's lazy and make people look bad. Well, black people a type of way
It's
because
weak.
of them just wanting handouts and then expecting people owe them something and then always, just blaming other people.
But you know what the ultimate handout that they're looking for is that is across the board. Forget about EBT, forget about housing. It's reparations. That's the big talk amongst
Oh, they
almost
need to talk
collectively
to Patrice
black people.
Cullis about the reparations because she was the one collecting
Hmm.
money off of the black people's debt. She collected $90 million, bought five different homes, like a million plus something each. She said it was for the black community or whatever, but it wasn't. She couldn't even produce a receipt when Candace Owens, shout out to Candace Owens, was knocking on the door asking where it went. She didn't even open the
She
door.
did that. That was dope.
Candace, okay, let me explain something about Candace. Candace didn't even put no allegedly. She didn't say none of this. Neither did Judge Joe Brown when he said Kamala Harris got a history of being a smut. She slept away
Yeah,
the
that's
top,
true.
and
Oh,
she Kamala, Candace called her, said that she got like when she was a young, she called her a spring chicken. She was fucking with a 60-year-old dude. Come to find out, Judge Joe Brown pops out and confirms her story and saying, "Yo, I know the dude that she was fucking with, and he confirmed it with me, saying as yo, listen, Candace kind of, I mean, Candace blew her fucking spot up. Candace is sharp.
oh
They
my
hate her.
goodness.
I like
Hold
Candace
on.
because
Look in the back chat. Hold on. Oh, okay. There you
we
go.
don't we don't own corporate land. That's a fact. That's a fact. We don't. We don't. We don't. But I guess like I said, because the leaders, guess what? The
Well, that's
leaders
why I guess, like, sorry, go ahead.
leaders are entertainers now. We don't have no true leaders. The leaders
Mm-mm.
are entertainers. That's why they get the entertainers to vote or die. They get the entertainers to open up for their presidential debates and shit like
And
that.
that's why a lot of things are being exposed right now. Strong leaders and stuff, and other people.
AKD, what did you mean by we don't own corporate land?
Well, I look at it as a bigger picture, I guess. Like, if people would come together and buy commercial property so we could put our businesses on there and then make it into corporations, like, why don't we have our own phone? Why don't we have our own mattresses? Why don't we have anything? Right now, everything's owned by the man, right? But we could do it if we could get together and do it. But it comes to education as well, you know.
I agree. I
Well,
agree.
we've proven, like I said earlier, we've proven we can do it um, en masse with the church. That's proof right
The
there.
church, the
I mean,
churches was
that is
causing divisions
But
that would be
too.
that's
crime.
like, if that's not corporate,
No, I'm
church
talking
is
about in terms
what?
of
501s,
building.
whatever that's called. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about Mac. I'm talking about mattress, whatever. I'm talking about the iPhone. Why don't we have anything like that?
No, I'm talking
But
about
we
something.
have
I
to
get
do
you.
it like John Deere. Okay, for example, I live in Indeed. We're
Hmm.
talking about farming. Why don't we have somebody out here having a factory to make our own, whatever name we want to call it, John Deere? Why do we have to go to the white man to buy his farm equipment, his shovels, everything? We can do it. It's just we have to get together, have a plan, and do it. And then that puts money
We
back into our communities, into our pocket.
Hmm.
But like I
we've
said,
done it. I
all
suspect that before the civil rights movement, and this is just my basic research. I feel like I need to do a lot more. But we were incentivized to be more together. So we had to own our own barbershops, our own grocery stores, and all these other things, our own buses. We
And
had to
see,
do it
But we,
because of um
people could have done that.
before
People could have
civil
done that
rights.
when the whole pandemic started. People started losing their jobs
yeah,
and stuff. That was the opportunity for people to
I get
start
yeah.
making their own business. But instead, again, they
Lewis,
just got
what we
lazy.
buy? Tires. I know friends who had got way more money than
Jordan.
I
I
did.
mean,
They
why
bought
don't we have, yeah, a Goodyear, our
Hmm.
own car company? Like, but we also need, the land, that land to be yours. And I think
Hmm.
there are a few still black owned banks out here. It's just we have to get together and do the educating too.
Come together as a
Like,
community.
where's the
And
black Xbox? Where's the
Hmm.
black
Oh,
PlayStation?
that would be so cool.
You
But
know, like Jordan, why doesn't he open his own factory then? Why are we still
Yeah.
going through Nike?
And then I also got this to say too. Like, the whole race thing, right? We need to deny race.
There we go.
Like, because people just think race between different colors, right? But race is multiple things. Like, from, let me just use example, gay people, that's a gay race. There's what else? Heterosexual race. Like, and if you get what I'm saying, it's like ties into the whole thing, so like they need to deny race. And then also this whole color issue is bigger than color itself. We all need to come together as a community. As soon as we do that, we will become a stronger country.
as soon as
Facts.
we do. And unfortunately, like you said earlier, we had the opportunity to do so during the COVID period with 3 years. Everyone got money.
Hmm.
All of us blacks. When I talk to my friends, my black friends, I said, you realize that that's the closest to reparations we ever gonna get is because the
Hmm.
white people got theirs and we got some too because they couldn't just leave us out. That'll look bad. The optics won't
Hmm.
look good on that. So we
And
got
then,
it. We got a lot
yeah,
of it, and it was a lot of money. I mean, look,
yep,
I got a couple of thousand. I know people who made 3 times as much. And what did they go and do with the money? I know friends who bought
they
big
just bought
wheels,
hair,
big cars,
rims.
Escalades, hair, nails, bunch of bullshit on
They
on
could have used
10
that money
than what they
for
would have used.
longevity. Get
So
The
some
mindset
property or
wasn't there,
something.
I feel like
but they want the money.
we don't know how to
But
start.
they
We don't.
but they did that for a reason though. They did it though for a reason. And that's the thing people do not get.
You got to
But
think about.
also with reparations, we've never truly had a movement to ask. Like, sorry to like bring this up, but the
Hmm.
LBGT community, they
Yeah.
wanted the right to get married. And what did they do? They did everything they could until they got that right.
Hmm.
They
But I
stood
feel,
together,
yeah.
put their foot down, and did it. So, what's
Hmm.
stopping us with reparations? Because every single person in this country would benefit. Because, like I
Hmm.
just said, we don't owe corporations. So, that
Yeah.
money we spend is going right back to the man.
But
Think
the
about it.
reparations thing too, let's just say if they did do reparations, right? People's not
Mhm.
gonna use that money for the right reason at all. They're just gonna just
There
do
you
it
go. I hate to
just to
say,
sh-
yeah. Like,
just to show
But
not,
let
off.
me
I mean,
cut in. Let me cut in,
there
Alexis,
will
because
be people
let
that
me cut in
do.
real quick.
Hmm.
You can't really talk about how people are going to use the money. If I take something from you and you owe it to me, are you not entitled to pay it back, regardless of
Yes,
what
you
I'm
are.
agreeing
And
with?
I
They're
can't tell
paying
Let,
you
it
let
how
me
to
back.
finish
spend
my
it.
thought. Let me finish my thought.
I can't tell
Rico.
you how to spend that money.
So okay, right. So therefore, so people like to think of reparations and blacks sometimes fall into this. Oh, I don't want to make it seem like I want a handout. It's not a handout. Wealth was stolen.
Mhm.
Blacks
But I
were,
say this
oh,
too.
sorry, Josh,
I
Uh-huh.
just see
because
it as
something was
honoring the
stolen,
ancestors.
and that
But
money was then used to make the 1% wealthy to this day. That
but
money
check
was
this
never
out.
given back. I mean, let me finish my thought. And
Okay.
during, we have to remember that. Sorry, I'm multitasking.
Oh, you're good.
Remind me, Alexis, to revisit this when I'm not moving around so much. We have to remember that it was ruled by the Supreme Court that the 40 acres. Now the mule came later. The 40 acres was how was upheld by the Supreme Court, and that was
Mhm.
40 acres of tillable land. That land is very profitable to that day, and that was never given.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're talking
Mm-hmm.
about reparations, we're talking about something that's old. So all of this, what are blacks going to do with it? Put it in the program? No, that was how the general at that time, he
Hmm.
chose to pay his troops. He asked the men, I think it was 20 black leaders, right? How did they want, what did they want? And they asked for 40 acres of tillable land. So it doesn't matter what blacks would have done with it today, because no one's asking what the
Hmm.
1% did with it when they took it. This money was
Mm-hmm.
used to
Yeah.
fund the wealthy,
Hmm.
fund these families, and that came from the backs of blacks, and they were never paid out for
Yep.
those 40
But
acres. Therefore, reparations is not something that is a handout. It's money that
No,
was
not at all.
stolen. And because that money was stolen, blacks have not had the same health care. We haven't been able to govern ourselves because the black men wanted to be able to govern themselves. And that was granted. And the Supreme Court upheld the 40 acres
mhm.
all these years later, and it still hasn't been paid out.
But check this out though.
That's
Like,
fair. I
this
agree.
is this may be a theory or whatever, a thought, but the whole reparation thing, why I say that as well, because the whole thing was slavery, right? People don't know that this land in America, there was blacks already here, and then the ones that were being brought over
Mhm.
were sold by their own
Yeah,
blacks themselves. And then also whites as well. It was black slave owners, white slave owners,
Wait,
you
wait, I
know.
can't let you do that. I can't let you do that, Rico. Let me say this.
But I'm saying
Let me
this.
say this.
But I'm saying, yeah.
I'm not gonna let you do that no
Oh, it's
more.
not just
What I'm
it's
gonna say
not
is
just with
this.
that.
What I'm
but
gonna
the
say is
slave
this. Let
owners
me finish
got
my
their
thought. Let me
reparations,
finish my
and
thought.
all slave
Let me
owners
finish my
got
thought.
their
I'm not gonna
reparations.
talk
But I'm
over you
saying
guys. We're
Jewish
gonna be very specific. I'm
Jews.
not gonna talk over you guys. Let me finish my thought.
hmm
So the problem, the reason why this history isn't taught is because blacks then went on. They tried to say that black men were ignorant, incapable, and the fact that they came up with this landmark decision to this day, that is unheard of to be given so much wealth. That takes away from the notion that black men were animals not capable of thinking, blah blah blah. No. So they hid this history, right? Because of the 20 black men. That's not the only reason. They don't want to play it out. They don't want to pay it out. But you want to
Yeah,
bring up black slave owners.
Mm-mm.
We
I
are
was not
not
just
going to say,
bringing
hold
blacks.
on, hold
Just
on.
okay.
We are not going to say that blacks that own slaves treated them the same way as white slave owners. We're not going to say that because they were parts of the family. And those in those days, there were rules on how you could treat slaves. There were rules. You couldn't beat them, or else they would take it from you, and you were punished by the law. And when we saw chattel slavery and stuff like that, that was something completely different. And
yeah,
blacks let their slaves become free, so they were in essence indentured servants. But that has nothing to do with reparations or anything else. And we're talking about reparations. We need to be really
Hmm.
specific to stick with reparations because what we are specifically talking about is wealth that was stolen from these men. And these men were granted. And even the Supreme Court, the highest court of the law, said that the general that gave the men this land, it was
Hmm.
upheld by the Supreme Court. There should have been nothing else to talk about. Nothing. But instead, we want to bring up everything else. Oh, blacks own slaves. Blacks didn't treat their slaves
I'm not
the way
saying
that
just
white people
blacks in
treated
general.
the
I was making
slaves.
a point
So I
about it.
understand your point. I understand your point. But
Oh
when it
yeah.
comes to the
Mhm.
reparations and stuff like that,
well, you
we are
have to do your
talking about
genealogy.
we are
That's a
talking
big
about
part
they
of
have
it in you.
calculated this amount to be in the trillions. And what did they do? They used the ignorance of people and say, wait a minute, we don't have to pay them trillions. We're gonna give them a billion because people didn't really think how many hundreds of thousands that's less than. They were thinking, oh, it's still a lot. So next, what are they gonna do?
Hmm.
Say a million, and then it's gonna go on and on.
Hmm.
That land is worth trillions,
Yeah,
and that money was given to people. And even if that the interest alone, based off of the wealth from reparations, has kept these families wealthy for centuries. Or century, am I
That's
wrong
true.
with centuries? I'm sorry. Since
No
1865
centuries.
and on.
Yeah.
So
No,
but
you're right.
you
all
got to
I'm
remember
saying is
all
this.
slave owners
All I'm
even
saying is
got their
this. It's
reparations.
unfortunate that people look at it as a handout. It's
No,
unfortunate. It's true. We don't know what to do with the wealth. That's why That's why the 1% and the 3%. They're not worried about blacks being paid reparations because they own the economy. They know that we're going to put it back into the businesses.
Well,
yeah,
They know
MU, I have a
that.
question.
Okay.
but we
MU,
don't
I have
get
a question.
together to even fight. They know that
Sorry about
too.
that, y'all. I didn't mean to go on a rapid, but when it comes
No,
to
Oh,
reparations, that's a very specific
yeah.
conversation. Yeah.
MU, I have a very specific question.
Okay.
What you're saying, I 100% agree. And Rico, she's absolutely right about it. I mean, yeah,
Oh,
there were,
I get what she was saying.
she's
She
on
made it
point.
long story short the way I was about to break it
She
down.
she
So
broke it down perfectly. But I
hmm
would say the way I would challenge MU is this: everything you just said about reparations, I absolutely agree. I would
Okay.
say that amongst the majority of white conservatives, and I spoke to a lot of them, they're not in favor of this reparations at all. Like
Majority
they're
of
kind of
what?
like they
The
still
majority of what?
they're white conservatives, Republicans that I've met, that I've spoken to,
You said
even
they're not in favor of reparations?
they are not at all
You're
in
wrong.
favor of it.
How can you say that when they're the ones that passed the bill for reparations?
Yeah, I
In
just think people
1865
aren't
and
educated
2015.
enough.
They were shut down by the Democrat. You're wrong. Because Republicans, regardless if they're racist or not, we're not even going to argue about that. They know that a wealthier
Mhm.
economy makes everybody wealthier. So there is no way in
Yeah.
hell, and they're not for government programming. Republican Party doesn't
Hmm.
get anything. The Democratic Party gets
hmm
wealthy keeping y'all on government programs, not the
it's
Republicans.
oppressing the
The
people.
Republicans have fought for reparations.
Yeah.
So you're wrong. Now, people want to keep throwing up the racism. I said there's problems with both parties. But when it comes to a wealthier economy, the Republicans are for a wealthier economy. So therefore, I'm going to vote Republican because the
Okay.
Democratic Party has made laws to keep us from getting
Hmm.
reparations and voting and everything else. When it comes to
Mm-hmm.
reparations, let me be clear. That money is owed to a group of people, and I don't want to hear about black slave owners. I don't want to hear about black people did this
Uh-huh.
and black people did that, because what
The
they didn't
Indians own
do,
slave,
what they didn't
Aboriginals
Uh-huh.
did
do
too
is
own slave.
ask
You
for
know
what
what I'm
happened
saying?
to
But
them. And hold on, we're talking about things after, let's say, okay, slavery was legal. It was legal. So stop with all this legal stuff. It was legal. But once it became illegal, and they stole that wealth. Not only did they steal it, blacks were compliant and rebuilt that wealth with Black Wall Street. And then we see all that stuff that happened with Rosewood, and the history goes on and on.
mm-hmm,
Down to sterilizing our young girls so they couldn't
mm-hmm.
reproduce. The history goes on. And when we built ourselves up, we were torn back down.
I mean,
Because
True.
every
the wealth was stolen.
university.
And with stolen wealth, that's why we have the health problems we have today, where we're
Yeah.
dying giving birth. That's
Mm-hmm.
why we're so obese and things like that. We couldn't
Yep.
afford the damn
Mm-hmm.
food. There's a lot of things that happen. So I don't want to hear about black slave owners, because those black slave owners allowed the blacks to be parts of their family. And what happened to those former slaves? They became kings and queens. They were able to go on to hold political office if they chose to. And you guys just
Mm-hmm.
spit out this rhetoric as if you know. And that's the problems with letting just anybody on your platform. I'm
Emil,
not here to spread
Mm-hmm.
ignorance. Let me
Emil,
go.
really quick, because my phone's got, you know how StreamYard eats my battery. But I just want to say, Joseph, like, I think a lot of it too is, you got to kind of say to them, well, how aren't you going to benefit from it? You know what I mean? Like, 'cause
Say it again.
it's still so very new, kind of like, because they're just now, we're just now starting to talk about it. But yeah, I mean, just throw it right back in their face. How will your not benefit, or how will your bank not benefit in the long run? Everyone would. But I just
Facts.
think, that people aren't educated enough and don't even realize that the whole economy will benefit.
Mm-hmm.
And it
I don't think
takes
that.
like people
I
like
agree.
us to even be brave enough to bring it up.
To bring it up, let me
I don't know
end. Let
that.
me
I don't.
let me end with that thought. I'm gonna
Mm,
give you guys a final thought. Are
Great
you? I
conversation.
get
Loved it.
Great.
very well. You
Yes.
don't have to go. I want to give a final thought, but I
Okay.
want to let you guys know that when it comes to certain things, this is why I get offended when people say, "Oh, MU's not for the people" and stuff like that. I know what I'm talking about, and it's good to have a conversation from people of different beliefs and backgrounds. But I just don't like ignorant spread, because then I'm like, okay, I'm doing the same thing that other people are doing to us, lying about the Republican Party, lying, saying, oh, the Democratic Party is all for the people. The Republican Party, there's no problems. I'm going to give you guys facts.
Mm-hmm.
And I could tell you that my beliefs, my core values, I have been able to sustain a certain lifestyle. Let's just talk finances. I have been able to navigate within the problems of
Uh,
whatever you want to say about the Republican Party, fine. But I have been able to take care of myself. I have been able to, my family and I that I've been a part of. I mean, we're all Republican. I live in California. I know the problems from the from
liberal
Harris. I know
policies.
the problems when she was a
mhm.
prosecutor. I know what she's done in
Mm,
California, and nobody can tell me anything different
Otherwise,
as
yeah.
far as that goes. And she was not for black people. And
Uh-uh.
when you were locked up in California, no matter what your sentence was, they could keep you in past that sentence. It was up to the discretion of the prison. Whatever. It was crazy out here.
the
Mm-hmm.
That's
hell?
all I have to say on that. I'll give y'all a final
The
thought.
hell?
And she definitely was not no AKA either. I would just say that, with the boots and stuff or
Could have
whatever.
been whatever, but
Oh, I
that
know.
doesn't.
Oh, I know.
But she didn't claim. She claimed Indian
Mm-hmm.
heritage, but that nevertheless, I'm not here to pick apart her race.
Oh, I
But
know.
I can tell
Yeah.
you that she was quiet. And she was quiet. During Biden's
Mm-hmm.
um term,
Okay.
And I didn't
I got a
hear her
question for you.
doing rallies for black people during his term or all
Hmm.
that. Where the hell's my purse?
I
Trying
got
to.
a question for you, Emu.
Oh, okay, go ahead. I'm getting
Like
mine.
you, oh, it's not even a question. But you see how good this panel went? We ain't even
It
cursed nobody
did.
out. We ain't even do none of that. Like, yo, it was just this is
It
dope.
did. I appreciate that.
I
Mm-hmm.
think it was a
I had
great
Alexis up here. I had Joseph hanging in there with my emotion,
No,
my
Hmm.
I love the
passion. We
passion.
had
I love this.
Rico.
Like I'm telling you this. I love politics and I like
Me too.
social issues. Like, and
Hmm.
you already know spirituality, of course. But
Oh
like,
yeah.
this is my type of conversations I love to have. That's why I
I
be getting hit.
appreciate it, and I know it's
Hmm.
not going to be the most popular thing, but I want you guys to know, like, so Mary, she brought up my addiction and stuff earlier and things like that.
Hmm.
I was in so much drama, so much chaos before, and
Hmm.
so because she also talked about, oh, you got 25 people in chat. I don't care about that kind of stuff. These
Who
are the
cares
things
about
that
numbers?
matters to me,
Hmm.
and I
Exactly.
appreciate you guys for even having the conversation because these are the
Hmm.
things that I truly care about. Like,
Hmm.
I don't care about anything else. um it doesn't mean I won't curse somebody out. That's not what I mean.
But you need
But
to. But
we got
like,
this
you care about
election
the
coming
stuff
up
that's
in
important more.
November,
Yeah.
and I have trouble thinking about much else when that election is a big deal. There's going to
Hmm.
be
Yeah.
problems no matter who wins. And I
Hmm.
do feel that we are
Exactly.
on the
Yep.
verge of
Mm.
world war. I mean, of another civil war.
Oh, it's
I
coming.
feel it's going to be bad, and that's all I'm saying is we need to be aware of what's happening.
Hmm. Yeah.
That's all I'm
A
saying.
civil war. Oh.
I'm
Hmm.
gonna give y'all the yeah, because no matter what, they're gonna say the Rex's League. There's gonna be problems, and I don't want
Yeah.
what happened
Yeah.
in Capitol Hill to happen again. And I
Hey,
want our
I
Right.
got
families to be
details
safe.
on that too. On the real.
I'm gonna give y'all the final thought, and then I'm gonna get out of
But
here.
I hope.
Come on, Papa.
Okay.
Real quick. Peace and love to everyone. Thank you so much, MU. I appreciated this conversation. You already know, big sis. Me and you have these kind of conversations, too. And um, I love hearing other people's ideas and thoughts. You know, this is the stuff that makes you really think. And um, hopefully, even if just
Hmm.
one person, even in the replay, gets something out of this, it was worth everything. And appreciate it. Everyone have a great night and stay positive
Love
in
you,
this crazy
Lexus.
world right now. Just try
Okay.
to stay positive.
Period.
Hey Rico, in your closing statement, if you could touch
Okay.
on this inside detail you were talking about that you might have that we might not be privy to, that would be cool. I'm curious.
I would say I'll be able to tell you if Emu has a few minutes after the live ends.
Okay.
If that just 3 minutes, just 3 minutes,
I
and I
don't know how
got
to
you.
do that from my phone, but I'll try. I'm gonna give y'all my final thought there. I'll try to do that.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how to do that. Do I just hit the
Hmm.
end for my phone?
Oh
All right,
yeah,
I
just
love
at
you
the
guys.
end.
I want to
Hmm.
let you know I appreciate the conversation. I know I haven't been live, and I'm always kind of rusty when I come, but I needed to speak.
Hmm.
Mhm.
My final thought
I
is I want us
just.
all to be safe. I want us
Hmm.
all to be aware, and this is a safe space for right wing talk, but everybody is welcome to have a conversation.
Okay.
Thank you. Now, how do I end this and keep? Do I just push the end
Oh,
button?
just click the end button. Uh-huh.
Okay, let me try. End.
Hopefully it doesn't kick us off.